What they miss are the endless nights I barely survived. Every single time I gamble my life as a real bet. Strong men aren't just born. They carve their way upward, climbing step by step over piles of the dead. They came sprinting out. I instantly vaulted onto the harvester roof, scanning the sprawling rice fields down below. I activated my skill and everything within a 60-meter radius became completely visible. Even in a thick forest, that range wouldn't mean much out there. But across these 5 or 6 acres of rice fields, it was plenty. With a massive grin, I told the livestream I could see the eggs. Thanks for the heads up earlier, guys. Without it, I really would have taken a massive loss. Too bad I can't ship this out. Otherwise, I'd love to let you all get a taste. After a few live streams, I was definitely getting way more comfortable and open. Before I even finished my sentence, I lightly hopped off the harvester. A few wide leaps later, I scooped up every single egg on this side of the river into my personal storage space. Island Master, items collected from the trial space, can actually be sold to folks from the Blue Star, and even other civilizations. The island spirit words caught me totally off guard, making the live stream chat explode. Hold on, we can actually do that? Of course. Why else would the product selling feature even exist? The island spirit replied, entirely matter of fact. Isn't selling products just running ads where the manufacturer handles direct shipping and I take my cut? I asked, applying my basic Blue Star logic. That is one form. But it also includes whatever loot the island master brings back from the trial space. Though, I need to clarify 2 specific things first. What 2 things? First, goods from the trial space cannot be priced however you want. The space itself dictates a totally reasonable market price. Makes perfect sense. Second, for anything you sell, the priciest part isn't the item itself. It is actually the transport fees for shipping. So I strongly recommend selling high-value, low-weight items. A sudden light bulb went off in my head. The red-tailed chicken eggs. How much would Blue Star people pay for them? Mortal-grade red-tailed eggs go for 0.01 gold coins per kilogram. Tier 1, lowest quality, goes for 0.05 gold coins a kilo. The goods are cheap, but the shipping cost is seriously shocking. Opening a 1-minute channel costs a solid 1,000 gold coins. That channel can transport up to 10,000 kilograms at once, plus an extra 0.1 gold coin shipping fee per kilo. The entire live stream gasped in shock. Who could possibly afford those costs? The eggs alone, sure, maybe you could scrape together enough, but tacking on those shipping fees makes it totally impossible. We totally can't afford that. Maybe only the ultra-rich elites could pull it off. Huh? Even VIPs aren't dumb enough to pay that. One viewer who was pretty good at math quickly figured out the real angle. That flat channel fee is stupidly expensive. Ideally, you pack a full 10,000 kilos and ship it simultaneously. On average, that's just 0.2 gold coins per kilogram. That's actually pretty doable. So a big shot just needs to step up, take the bulk order, and resell the pieces to everyone else. Probably pocketing the difference. If you want the cheapest deal, a whole group needs to pool their money and split that shipping cost together. Staring at a screen absolutely flooded with complex math, I couldn't help but throw my hands up and smirk. Those fees are insanely high. If someone is genuinely willing to cover the full amount, that suits me just fine. But I urge everyone to just stay calm. Red-tailed eggs only hold an incredibly faint trace of chi and blood energy. They are definitely useful for training, but not quite to that ridiculous extent. That price is way too inflated. Plus, I currently only have 36 eggs, and I've got to stash some away for myself to eat. There's not much left to sell. Nowhere near 10,000 kilograms. With that insane asking price, plus everything I just said, absolutely nobody should be stepping up to buy. What I did not expect was the Blue Star elites secretly joining forces. For them, this was fantastic news. They could completely monopolize the trial space loot, while getting absolute priority to enjoy it all themselves first. As for me, my focus was locked on the one thing affecting my profits. I called the island spirit. I asked how much I would earn selling goods for others. She said the master gets 10% of the sale price for proxy trades. Selling your own trial space loot earns the master 80%. The remaining 20% goes to the academy. After all, the academy spent a fortune building this space. The spirit fell silent. However, you can only claim that money after passing the trial. Quitting halfway means everything dumps right into the scholarship fund. They really did not leave a single loophole. I sighed. If early withdrawals were allowed, so many would have cashed out and run. The academy blocked that path too. Well, this side is totally cleared. Time to head across the river. I gathered every last egg, drove the harvester back to the floating island, and launched it, touching down on the opposite bank. This side was much bigger. Whether the red-tailed chickens preferred hanging out here or not, the rice fields held triple the eggs. 112 of them exactly. Wading through the fields, I collected every egg before firing up the harvester to cut the bloodgrass rice. 7 or 8 minutes later, done. Not a single green-eyed snake slithered out to cause trouble. Honestly, it went so smoothly I felt kind of disappointed. The viewers were disappointed too. The stream connections plummeted from a peak over 600 million down to just above 300 million. Back on the island, I spread the freshly harvested bloodgrass rice out to dry on the bluestone bricks out front. Then I ran back to the fields, hauling the straw bundles the harvester packed. 4 round trips just to lay it all out to dry. Why is old Bai doing this? You can instantly tell he has never worked a day in the fields. Dried straw makes incredible kindling. Down the line, it will be decent fodder for raising horses and cattle too. Do not horses eat pasture grass? Back in the day, premium pasture grass was strictly reserved for war horses. What regular livestock could ever afford that? This bloodgrass rice straw is likely just as nutritious as high-grade pasture grass anyway. Kind of seems like a waste of time. But whatever, the harvester already bundled it up. Hauling it back and laying it out only takes a few minutes. Old Bai is not the type to make a move without a guaranteed payoff. He would never touch a deal that did not pay out. Reading those comments, I just laughed out loud. This stuff is perfect kindling. Way easier than burning wood. It will save me so much trouble starting fires later. Totally worth the effort. Alright, the bloodgrass rice is fully harvested. Time for the main event. Let us go explore the dense forest. I hopped back onto the floating island. With quick strides, I pushed deep into the thick woods. Light filtered through the canopy, scattering shadows across the dirt. The deeper I went, the dimmer the light grew, until the creeping silence became absolutely nerve-wracking. The woods loomed ahead like a gaping maw, ready to swallow me whole. The forest should not be this quiet, not even a single bug chirping. This is incredibly weird, one viewer commented nervously. It is a trial space. Stop treating it like the outside world. Honestly, I am pretty worried for Bai. Everyone needs to help watch his surroundings, especially behind him. He does not have eyes in the back of his head, after all. Watch out for any green-eyed snake ambushes. I did not bother telling them I had already wiped out the very last red-tailed chicken on the island. The only threat left were those green-eyed snakes. And this was the exact spot where that huge nest of them tangled together last time. See this? These are the marks my arrows left behind. I pointed at the empty space. This time I was not holding back or hiding a thing. I actually kept the stream chat open, talking with everyone right in the deep woods. The reason was very simple. Skill breeds courage. Last time I was barely at the early stage of body formation level 1. I had 0 combat techniques and was keeping my trump cards hidden. This place used to be terrifyingly dangerous. Now everything is totally different. Even without my trump cards, my raw combat power alone can handle most monsters roaming these woods. Unless I run into some terrifying 4-star rank 1 beast, I might lose a direct brawl, but I can definitely escape alive. So where exactly did those snake corpses and all their loot disappear to? Were they cannibalized? I completely get the corpses vanishing, but how did the loot disappear so fast too? It is not like gear just evaporates if you leave it alone. Old Sue admitted. Did you secretly sneak back in here after the last stream ended? I smiled, making 0 effort to hide it, and just nodded. Yeah, I came here specifically to clear out all the loot. I didn't dare stick around another minute. Grabbed the gear and bolted. Luckily, I didn't run into more snakes on my way out. Holy crap, Sue the 6th, you actually went inside. I absolutely knew you were hiding something. With combat power like that, yet we never see you train. How? One sharp viewer was fishing for answers. Just snagged some solid items that help with training. That is it. I casually brushed it off and quickly changed the subject. This time I am taking you all a bit deeper. Hiss hiss. A faint rustling sound echoed through the shadows. I stopped dead in my tracks. My ears twitched, scanning the entire area. Since arriving, I had not activated the Eye of Insight once. Not just to save time. I actually wanted to use this situation as genuine training for myself. Judging by the strength of the red-tailed bird king, I figured the remaining green-eyed snakes on this island would not be ridiculously overpowered. As long as I stayed extra careful, there would be no real danger. Watch your left. One viewer actually beat me to it, firing off a quick mental danmaku. I had already sensed it. I turned to look. 15 meters out, a 4-meter-long green-eyed snake was slowly slithering right toward me. The second it saw me looking, it did not back down. Instead, it sped right up. Name green-eyed snake. Level 1st and up. End of info. I skimmed the basic stats, slapped the Chukonu repeating crossbow back into place, gripped my blade and stood my ground. Hiss. The snake flicked its tongue and lunged. Die. I dodged sideways in a flash. My blade ripped through the air. Slash. The snake split into 2 completely clean halves. Fast, flawless strike. I didn't use a single special ability in that quick clash. Just raw situational awareness, sharp reflexes, and pure skill. Not bad. Now, if I could just stumble upon a 3-star first rank monster, I could really test my limits against beasts in my own class. I was pretty damn satisfied with the result. My appetite for combat was only growing. Grabbed the corpse and loot, then kept moving. Along the way, I faced over a dozen green-eyed snakes, all below 3-star first rank. I wiped them out with basically a single strike each. Viewers kept hyping up my crazy blade skills, but the honest truth? I do not actually know any real sword techniques. It is just reflexes and raw instinct. Maybe I was simply born to fight. Oh man, watch out! Here they come. So many snakes, way more than last time. Did he walk straight into a nest? I never thought a snake valley existed deep in this forest. This has got to be the main stronghold for the green-eyed snakes. The confidence of possessing genuine power let me multitask. I kept talking casually, staying extremely alert as I slowly pushed deeper inside. I tracked the Danmaku comments and looked front and right. 12 meters ahead, the dense trees suddenly thinned out, exposing the entire scene in crystal clarity. A small valley spanning maybe 200,000 or 300,000 square meters. Not too deep, roughly 7 or 8 meters down, but the entire pit was just crawling with green-eyed snakes, slithering over massive clusters of unhatched emerald green eggs. Hiss! I took a deep breath and dropped low, freezing completely so nothing would spot me. Just insane numbers. At least 200 by my rough guess. Add the stragglers out in the woods and the ones I already killed. The total easily crossed 300. Way more than the red-tailed birds, and far stronger too. The red-tailed birds numbered under 200 at most. Almost a quarter of those were just standard beasts. But these green-eyed snakes? I had not seen a single one weaker than 1-star first rank. Then again, that was before. Right now, down in the valley, I spotted juveniles shorter than 3 meters. The smallest one was probably just a single meter long, so that was the trick. They hide their hatchlings safely in the valley. Only adult snakes venture out, ensuring the red-tailed birds cannot eat the young. These monsters are not endlessly respawning NPCs like in a video game. I figured that out the day the red-tailed birds got entirely wiped out. If they actually respawned, completely eliminating them would be flat-out impossible. You took on over 100 red-tailed birds totally solo. Do you actually dare to challenge an entire valley of green-eyed snakes this time? I could not tell if that viewer was just curious or deliberately baiting me. Do you honestly think this is the same thing? Red-tailed birds were massive targets standing right out in the open. I just pinned them back with my spear. Less than 10 actually fought me face to face. But these green-eyed snakes are completely different. Tiny and fast, they can ambush you from every single angle. And worst of all, highly venomous. One bite and it is game over. Stay calm. Do not do anything reckless. You are already off to an incredible start today. Take it slow. Pick off the stragglers in the woods first. Lure those snakes out of the valley and smartly execute them one by one. Some viewers were genuinely worried. Did he not grab a few stalks of snakeblood grass on his way over here? That herb literally cures blue-eyed snake venom. So what is the fear? What about that little porcelain flask he found earlier? Could it be an antidote pill? If he has something like that, there is way less reason to panic. Seeing me just crouch there perfectly still, the chat immediately split into 2 camps and started arguing. Hunting them one by one was safe, but way too slow. A direct assault looked risky, but I kept a trump card hidden. If things got ugly, I could just cut the stream. I only had to keep my best cards hidden. But combat power never stays secret for long. One real fight and it gets completely exposed. But action alone pulls in the massive views, the donations, and the bets too. That sudden spike in followers, didn't it happen because everyone watched me crush that red-tailed chicken flock alone? Now the real show begins. I never drag things out. My decision made, I gave my viewers a quiet warning, drew my Zuga repeating bow and stepped a little closer. Click, click, click. While the snakes down in the valley were completely clueless, I was the one who pulled the trigger first. With the Eye of Insight skill active, the snakes slowed to a crawl. I instantly locked onto the high-level targets I had picked out, the 3-star level 1 blue-eyed snakes. 5 arrows launched in rapid succession, dropping 5 nearby vipers dead on the spot. Right then the rest of the valley noticed an intruder. They lunged toward me with absolute fury. Without moving my feet a single inch, I completely emptied the last 5 arrows from the magazine. Then I spun around and sprinted, circling the whole valley, forcing the swarm to turn and chase me relentlessly. The 3rd tier of the body refining stage, paired with the traceless snowwalk technique. I moved like a raging windstorm. Any beast below a 3-star level 1 had absolutely zero chance of catching me. And those 3-star ones were a small minority from the start. I just sniped 10 of them. Only 4 left down there. While sprinting, I quickly reloaded, spun around, and took aim. Ding. Blue-eyed snake killed mid-stage, 3-star level 1. Reward is 45 level 1 points. Ding. Late-stage blue-eyed snake killed. Reward is 50 level 1 points. With all the 3-star targets wiped out, I shifted my total focus to the 2-star level 1 snakes, emptied the mag, reloaded. Right then I held 30 original arrows plus 8 of the blue-eyed snake arrows. 6 older ones and 2 I just yanked from those dead snakes scattered out in the thick woods. Click, click, click. Wave after wave of arrows rained down. Snake after snake got brutally pinned to the dirt, dying instantly or thrashing around the wooden shafts. They didn't last long. Eventually, every single one of them died. The only thing I didn't realize was that while I harvested their souls left and right, leaving the entire live stream completely speechless, a pair of freezing cold eyes watched everything unfold from an altar deep in the Snake Valley. To her, those dead creatures were nothing but garbage. She showed absolutely zero urge to strike, cold-blooded and utterly ruthless. 34 straight shots fired, with a flat 100% accuracy rate. Down to my last 4 arrows, I stopped dead, lifting the bow. I drew the heavy black iron spear, took a massive stride, and vaulted into the valley. My arena now. No trees to block me, perfectly clear. I slammed into the dirt, and instantly the swarm rushed me, trying to box me in completely. Like I was just gonna stand there playing defense. I thrust my spear forward. My fighting style isn't about looking pretty. It is pure, crushing dominance. One blast of raw power can shatter any technique, wiping out thousands without mercy. A single brutal swing sent several massive snakes flying. Parthian's crushing strike. The blade sank deep inside a snake's mouth before I yanked it out. The massive shockwave from that raw power blew its entire front half into a spray of shredded meat. Pure brutality, plain and simple. Striking and retreating, I circled the valley once. The chat erupted. Old B's sword skills were insane, but nothing compared to his spear. That last move, there is no way anyone pulls that off without 20 solid years of brutal training. How did Old B get so insanely good with melee weapons? Does it have something to do with his special ability? His whole backstory got leaked ages ago. He is just a regular desk jockey, an orphan on top of that. Where the hell would he even get the money to train in all these martial arts? He flat out said his flawless archery came from his special ability, and now this sword and spear work? All these terrifyingly brutal techniques. Is it really possible his ability lets him instantly master all 18 weapons of war? Does a superpower that completely broken even exist? Who knows? The powers exposed to the public are already insanely diverse. If his ability actually connects to weapons, then it is not impossible at all. Wild theories were flooding the livestream chat. But right then, I was entirely locked into the fight, completely blind to what they were saying. I had crushed every single 3-star green-eyed snake. Even the 2-star ones were practically wiped off the map. Whatever runts and stragglers were left, they were just delaying the inevitable. But the very second I turned my back on the valley's center, absolute disaster struck. A colossal 7E-class serpent exploded from beneath the central altar, moving fast as lightning, its massive jaws lunging straight for my back. The chat suddenly exploded. "Oh my god, what is that thing behind you, Old B?" He is finished. He hasn't even noticed it. Did he actually think crushing those high-level beasts made him totally invincible? Pride always comes before a brutal fall. What a waste, a guaranteed victory thrown in the trash in an instant. The comments flooded the screen like an absolute blizzard. 800 million viewers held their breath. At the Capitol base, Zhang Yong leaned forward with clenched fists, slamming the table hard enough to send his teacup flying. Meanwhile, at the Sam Nation Intelligence Agency, Director James flushed red with absolute thrill. Heaven finally opened its eyes. This showboat bastard was about to get the exact beatdown he absolutely deserved. But down in Snake Valley, the second that serpent lunged, a slight smirk crept onto my face. Distance 20 meters. Everyone was dead certain I was a goner. I readied my Zhug repeating crossbow, spun around, squeezed the trigger, and slid sideways. 4 arrows launched in blazing rapid fire straight toward that massive monster. Then I swapped my weapon for the heavy black iron spear. I planted my feet and calmly watched that colossal body slam into the dirt with a deafening crash. Its eyes held pure terror, disbelief, and a tiny hint of defiance. All of this went down in exactly 1 single second. The viewers who squeezed their eyes shut, too squeamish for the massacre, opened them to an unforgettable sight. And as for those haters waiting to watch me get swallowed whole, all the color drained from their faces, replaced by absolute shock. What a kid. Zhang Yang slammed his fist into the table once more. Looks like we totally underestimated him. He either knew the threat was there all along and just waited for it to strike first. Insane awareness, ice-cold nerves, and unbelievable guts to take a lethal risk like that, or his combat instincts were just absolutely terrifying. Meanwhile, James turned into a raging wrecking ball, knocking everything off his desk while screaming curses. Right then, someone shoved the door wide open. Boss Subai's stream just broke past the 10 billion viewer mark. The dark tier platform shoved his stream to the front page. Viewers from the alien civilization are flooding in by the thousands every second. Get out of here right now. Only now did I catch a break to check out this snake's stats. Name: Emerald Snake King. Rank: Level 1, 4 stars. Peak. Description: absolute ruler of the Emerald Snake Clan. and the undisputed boss of this floating island. Its gallbladder holds massive vital essence. If you're at the peak of the third layer of body formation, it boosts your breakthrough odds by 80%. Arrow in the eye. Arrow in the forehead, arrow in the vital spot 3 inches down, and a final shot buried in its tail. 3 of them hit dead center, pinning it flat to the ground. Still breathing. I was actually kind of surprised by how much life it had left. The remaining snakes weren't even worth worrying about. I wiped them all out super fast. Since you refused to die, let me send you to the afterlife myself. I ripped an arrow from a nearby snake corpse and drew my bow. The Snake King was taking its final breaths, but it was still a boss. Who knew if it would launch a desperate ranged attack right before dying? Better to play it safe. Before the arrow flew, the notification chimed. Ding. You have successfully killed the peak level 1, 4-star monster Emerald Snake King. Reward 200 level 1 points. Ding. You have successfully slain the ruler of the Emerald Snake Clan. Reward 1 level 1 radar fragment. Not bad at all. I grinned as the chat snapped out of its collective shock. Subobai, how the hell did you know that Snake was setting an ambush? Absolute insane plot twist. As of today, you're officially my idol. Donations and betting alerts flooded the screen like crazy. I paused, letting the suspense build up before finally answering. Honestly, the trick was pretty simple. That tiny hill right in the middle of Snake Valley was completely, glaringly out of place. It clearly wasn't natural, and the surrounding snakes wouldn't even go near it. I knew some hidden danger was lurking there. Plus, just look at the red-tailed rooster clan from before. That Rooster King was on a completely different level. And out of all these emerald snakes, I'd already slaughtered plenty of late-stage 3-star ones. No way their king was just some peak 3-star beast. But here is the real kicker. Back when I killed the peak 3-star emerald snake, the system never announced that I'd defeated the ruler, which meant the Snake Clan still had a true king hiding somewhere in the shadows. I slaughtered all those 3-star snakes, and he never even flinched. That kind of patience, that cruelty, watching his own kind get slaughtered. He outclassed my power completely, yet refused to face me head-on. After scanning the area, I purposely turned my back to the hill, just to make him drop his guard. My back was turned, sure, but every ounce of my focus was locked behind me. The slightest twitch, and I'd react in a heartbeat. 9 parts truth, 1 part absolute deception. What I left out is that the Eye of Insight only penetrates obstacles within 60 meters, and Snake Valley was massive. The only way to get a full view was to literally jump down inside. The second I spotted the Snake King lurking under the hill, I laid this trap to bait the beast out of its lair. If it never came out, I'd be completely stuck. At my current cultivation level, a head-on clash was just out of the question. So Subobai had the whole thing orchestrated from the very start. Even if I knew the plan, I'd never dare try it. One wrong step and the trap backfires, costing you your life. Anyway, now it's harvest time. I circled around Snake Valley, sweeping all the snake corpses into the 10,000 Beast Tower, and stashed the eggs for later. Thanks for all the support, everyone. That's it for today. I'll mop up the remaining forest stragglers, and next stream, I'm taking you all to another floating island. I cut the live stream completely. Ignored the 1.2 billion viewers watching my every move. Real prey doesn't pose for the cameras. Once the stream ended, I stayed right where I was, marching straight toward that little hill. Earlier, back when I triggered my Eye of Insight, I spotted the Snake King resting on top of something mysterious. That was the real reason it guarded this spot so fiercely. The item name, Broken Blood Crystal. Low grade. As for its description, crystal stone formed from the blood of ancient powerhouses and fierce beasts. It seeped into the earth's veins, purifying over 10,000 years. Every impurity stripped away, leaving only the core. It holds massive blood essence, offering incredible direct support for cultivation. No wonder this spot birthed the Snake King. I paused, sinking into my own thoughts. If the Snake King guarded a treasure this valuable, what exactly is the Rooster King hiding in its lair? Top tiers do not get strong on talent alone. They grab hidden resources nobody else ever sees. Behind every massive leap forward is a crushing advantage. I dug the blood crystal out. Warm to the touch, deep, solid crimson. The raw primal greed it woke up inside me was nearly impossible to fight. Like a starving man suddenly spotting a feast, or someone dying of thirst finding fresh water. Island spirit, how do I actually use this blood crystal? It warned me never swallow it directly. The blood essence energy is way too intense. It will absolutely blow your physical body apart. At the first 3 body tempering levels, you just hold it inside your mouth. Extract the core essence slowly and carefully. Once you finally hit the 4th level where blood essence radiates outward, then you can channel the inner essence to boost your strength. Fair enough. I packed the blood crystal away safely and gave a firm order. Tower Spirit, purify all those emerald snakes. The glowing orb on the 9th floor of the 10,000 Beast Tower faded, finally revealing the pills. 1 mid-grade rank 1 blood spirit pill. 99 low-grade blood spirit pills. 11 rank 1 low-grade spirit pills, plus just a little under half of an incomplete mid-grade spirit pill. With these 11 spirit pills, that is more than enough to scout out the whole forest. I strolled to the edge of the floating island, activated the Eye of Insight, scanning the dense surrounding woods at top speed. Scanning a 120-meter radius, I moved incredibly fast. 3 minutes later, the ability faded, so I instantly swallowed a spirit pill. My spiritual energy refilled instantly. And, since I had not wasted any extra energy practicing my combat techniques, my soul grew stronger once again. The ability duration hit 11 minutes and 15 seconds. Last time it jumped by 50 seconds. This time it only increased by 25 seconds. Some of it clearly went toward restoring my spiritual energy. I had plenty of spirit pills anyway, so I swallowed another. This time, the entire effect went straight into strengthening my soul. When the effect wore off, my stats screen showed 12 minutes flat. A full 45-second boost. I narrowed my eyes, focusing hard. It looked like my guess was spot on. The richer my spiritual energy, the stronger and better the soul upgrade effect became. Let us keep going then. Swallowed another spirit pill. Duration ticked up to 12 minutes and 40 seconds. A 40-second jump. A third pill, then a fourth. By the 10th, the duration stopped moving entirely. Only a strange clarity remained, completely flooding my mind. Tower Spirit, what is going on here? Sir, these are merely rank 1 low-grade spirit pills. They have a strict upper limit. To progress further, you must either raise your cultivation base or switch to a higher tier pill. Just as I suspected. I quickly checked my stats screen. Ability duration 15 minutes. Insight diameter 85 meters. That is good enough. 10 pills gone in one shot. It hurt to lose them, but each pill became pure strength. None of it was a waste. I shook off the sting and plunged right back into the deep woods. This tiny island only held a patch of woodland about 2 square kilometers wide. I sprinted at absolute max speed. Before the ability even timed out, I had completely scanned the entire forest, slaughtered every single green-eyed snake, left no serpent, no egg, no chicken egg, not even snake bloodgrass behind. I snatched up absolutely everything. Ding! Congratulations on exterminating the entire green-eyed snake clan. Reward 1 level 1 energy unit. That familiar chime rang out the second I cut the head off the final late stage. 1-star level 1 green-eyed snake. The red-tailed rooster king actually dropped a flawed, low-grade blood crystal about the size of a soybean. A full size smaller than the snake king's drop. The corner of my mouth curled into a faint smirk. That was good enough for me. But how big is a complete blood crystal anyway? Never seen one before. I turned around to view the floating island I had thoroughly drained. The huge crater I dug out and flooded with water. A mountain of pine logs piled high outside the island master's mansion. I breathed in deeply, smiling calmly. I took everything valuable and portable. Moving the remaining pine required too much manpower. I could not shift it alone, and it was not worth my time. Time to leave. I slowly looked toward the 2 floating islands on the distant horizon. One was a fog-shrouded island, roughly twice the size of mine. The other was a resource island, a massive 5 times larger. But from a distance it looked barren, completely stripped of one specific thing. 2 entirely different choices. Island Spirit, take me to Fog Island. My reason was pretty simple. It was the absolute closest. Very few early testers dared to enter Fog Island, which would definitely hook the viewers. That helps attract followers. Besides, Fog Island hid some sort of hidden opportunity, and I was completely determined to uncover it. Right away, sir. It takes 23 minutes and 41 seconds. Upgrading the propulsion unit makes us much faster. I slowly flipped my hand. 2 weird items floated from my palm, looking exactly like miniature nuclear reactors. Upgrade. The next second, both units left my hands and sank into the floating island. Upgrade successful. Current flight speed is 30 kilometers per hour. Arrival in 7 minutes and 54 seconds. Speed tripled. It was the absolute best outcome I wanted. With 7 extra units, I have enough for my next upgrade. Let's boost the radar fragments now too. I said that as 2 identical silver triangular shapes floated right above my palm. Upgrade totally successful. The radar scan range expanded to cover a 300-meter radius. My mood improved even more. Cutting through the forest, I killed over 40 green-eyed snakes, fully harvesting every single corpse. Right at this moment, I have 121 complete low-grade Tier 1 blood spirit pills. My soul pills grew from 1 to 3. The remaining loot piled up into massive mounds. I couldn't hide my smile no matter how hard I tried. Copper notes and bronze coins went straight inside my wallet. Combined with my previous balance, I now had 23,595 coins, plus 12 silver coins dropped by the Snake King. According to the test zone exchange rate, 1 silver coin equaled 1,000 bronze coins. So I now own over 35,000 coins. Island Spirit, upgrade my personal storage space to 10 cubic meters. The space immediately expanded, and 7,000 coins vanished from my wallet. How much is the upgrade past 10 cubic meters to hit 100 cubic meters? Every single upgrade adds 10 cubic meters minimum. Each one costs 9,500 coins, with a 5% discount. Not bad, but upgrading was a completely different story. The Island Master Manor needs 30,000 bronze coins for its next upgrade. So, I had to save cash beforehand. I might hit a treasure island and need cash there too. 9,500 coins per upgrade wasn't exactly cheap. I thought it over briefly. Just those 100 red-tailed chickens alone would almost fill the entire space. 10 cubic meters is seriously way too small. So I took out 9 extra silver coins and 10,000 regular coins, jumping straight to 30 cubic meters. I muttered to myself, this money never lasts. My balance dropped to just 3 silver coins and 6,595 bronze. But my gloom only lasted a brief second. I checked the remaining loot and smiled again. 4 books, 5 porcelain bottles, 1 crimson egg the size of a basketball, 1 emerald green egg the size of a suitcase, plus 17 weapons and gear pieces, and 58 arrows. Both eggs dropped from the bosses in battle. The crimson egg came from the red-tailed chicken king, and the emerald green egg was from the green-eyed snake king. An unranked mutated red-tailed chicken egg, carrying a trace of the crimson blood rooster bloodline with tier 2 potential. If it gets helped back to its original genetic form, it could activate its bloodline legacy, gaining the potential of an 8th tier demonic beast. Island Spirit. What is the difference between demonic beasts and savage beasts? Demonic beasts descend from primordial demon gods. Savage beasts are simply products of the natural world. That's all my clearance level lets me know. For any more details, you'll just have to wait until you join the Divine Lord Academy. Sir, I'll place the egg right inside the 10,000 Beast Tower's first floor. Tower Spirit, what's needed to hatch this? Just 1 drop of your blood, sir, and the 10,000 Beast Tower will forge a master-servant pact between you two. I drew my dagger, nicked my fingertip, and squeezed 1 drop into the tower. How long will this take? About 3 minutes. I faced the second egg. Mutated emerald snake egg, level undefined. Carries a trace of the giant dragon snake bloodline. 3rd tier potential. If purified with real dragon blood or a dragon pearl, a 30% bloodline concentration yields a 7th tier demonic beast. A 50% concentration could turn it into a divine beast. Damn it. I swallowed hard, my heart hammering wild my chest. This was so much stronger than the Crimson Blood Rooster Island Spirit. This luck was not just insane. Dropping 2 top-tier combat pet eggs from my very first floating island ever. Sir, I have to correct you. The little fairy looked completely serious. Every tester who clears their first floating island earns a combat pet egg upon slaying the boss. It is a hidden perk for everyone. After that, the egg drop rate from any boss you kill never exceeds 10%. Second, 50% of combat pet eggs carry a demonic beast bloodline, so the chance of getting 2 in a row is 25%. Good luck for sure, but hardly a grand prize. Otherwise, the red-tailed rooster egg would have divine beast potential too. Third, combat pets are incredibly easy to get, but raising them devours resources and might slow down your own cultivation progress, sir. Whether it is actually worth the trouble entirely depends on the person. Finally, below the 4th cultivation realm, you can only tame 1 combat beast. Below the 7th realm, 2 at most. And before ascending to godhood, maximum 3 unless you score special techniques or taming gear to boost your limits. So, that makes sense. The only reason I can control 2 at once is the 10,000 Beast Tower. Tower Spirit, go ahead and hatch this egg too. Another blood drop followed the egg inside the tower. I checked the rest of my loot. All 58 arrows were low-grade Tier 1 Emerald Snake arrows. I tossed them into my inventory next to the Joja repeating crossbow. Now I have 30 high-grade Tier 1 arrows and 66 snake arrows. That is some seriously respectable firepower. 5 ceramic vials of distilled snake venom, plus 1 extra antidote pill. Mid-grade Tier 1 neutralizes 99% of poisons below high-grade Tier 1, and weakens high-grade Tier 1 poisons by 80%. 10 whole pills will be an absolute lifesaver early on. Top-tier loot. I stashed them separately. Definitely did not want to mix them up with the venom during a panic. 4 books. A high-grade Tier 1 cultivation technique, 2 low-grade techniques, and a mid-grade Tier 1 combat skill. None of them were actually useful to me, so I set them aside to sell at Money Island later. And finally, 17 pieces of gear. 8 were just normal grade, mostly daggers, iron pots, and basic everyday tools. Only the kettle and water were somewhat useful. But out of the 8 low-grade Tier 1 items, only 1 really caught my eye. A jade, absolutely gorgeous blood jade. Low-grade Tier 1 but damaged. It held a broken defensive formation. It could block 1 fatal strike from a peak 3-star Tier 1 beast and even weaken attacks from higher realm monsters. If a formation master repaired it, the completed version would be a high-grade Tier 2 treasure. It was pretty useless to me right now. But total gold for beginners. After all, not everyone could blast into the third level of the body refining realm as fast as I did. I hooked it onto my belt. I would get a formation master to fix it up once I finally reached Money Island. And finally, the single mid-grade tier 1 item, a blacker pistol. It was a pure product of technology. It had an effective range of 150 meters. It could wound a 6-star tier 1 beast within 10 meters and a 4-star within 50. The catch incredibly loud, easily attracting strong enemies. The magazine held 10 rounds with 50 extra bullets included. Crazy, a literal pistol dropped here. It was a massive prize for the early stages, especially for those of us from Blue Star. Just two downsides: barely any ammo, and way too loud. Nowhere near as stealthy or silent as the Joja repeating crossbow. But if I ever needed to lure monsters out with pure noise, it would actually beat the crossbow. I packed it away and checked my hunting log, frowning slightly. Including the arrows, I only scooped up 86 pieces of loot. This run, I killed 503 red-tailed birds and green-eyed snakes combined. A 17.1% drop rate. But since those snakes dropped way more arrows, the actual drop rate was way lower. Island Spirit, the drop rate is lower than before. Is that normal? It is totally normal. In the past, your cultivation was low, Master. You were usually fighting enemies above your level, so the drop rate naturally stayed high. This time, you mostly killed monsters below your own cultivation level, lowering the rate. So, the harder you pushed past your limits, the better the rewards. Coasting through easy wins in your comfort zone never yields real treasure. While I was mulling that over, the Tower Spirit Cut and Master, both of the combat pet eggs, have hatched. The contracts are fully formed now. Eager, I plunged my consciousness straight into the first floor of the 10,000 Beast Tower. Sure enough, two clumsy, absolutely adorable little creatures were resting inside. I fired up my Eye of Insight, locking onto a basketball-sized lump of fiery red feathers. A juvenile blood red rooster. Early stage 1-star tier 1 cultivation skill. Bloodthirst devours enemy blood mid-combat to heal wounds and restore vitality. Divine Power Blood Detonation burns its own vitality to boost combat power by 30% for 1 minute, once every cosmic day. 1.5% Bloodline. A born warrior that purifies its bloodline through slaughter, even evolving into its ancestors. By devouring meat and blood crystals, it could level up its cultivation super fast with zero bottlenecks. The other one was already 2 meters long right at birth. A snakehead rocking 2 dull black fleshy horns, a juvenile titan dragon snake. Cultivation mid-stage, 1-star tier 1. Skill: Venomous Bite shoots venom like an arrow across 5 meters, fully capable of dropping higher-level enemies. Divine Power Gigantification triples its massive size for exactly 1 minute. Gravity Control Bell manipulates gravity within a 1-meter radius, from half to 1.5 times normal for a minute. Bloodline 3.5%. Scoring Dragon Blood or a Dragon Pearl could massively purify its bloodline. My god, double innate abilities. No wonder they packed the potential of divine beasts. I was totally speechless. Good, excellent, fantastic. The hype was completely off the charts right now. Tower Spirit. Can I feed them blood spirit pills to boost their cultivation? I still had 121 blood spirit pills left. More than enough to push me straight to the peak of the third body refining stage. Definitely a perfect tonic to nourish chi and blood. I gave them 40 pills each at once. Let us see if I can push them right to the first rank peak. 3 stars, yes sir. But absorption and refining actually takes time. It will not happen overnight. Please be patient, sir. Understood. I took the little ones out of the tower and played with them to deepen our master and servant bond. Then as I sent them straight back to the first floor to absorb the pills. That bloodline connection, the power to control their very lives with a single thought. A bizarre yet incredible feeling. Sir, we just arrived at the Fog Island. The island spirit interrupted my thoughts. Run a radar scan, let us see what is on this island. Sir, the Fog Island is a special case. Radar completely fails here. You have to land and explore with your own eyes. The island spirit sounded incredibly apologetic. What about spiritual sense? I already opened my sea of consciousness. True, I cannot project it outward quite yet, but I will get there eventually. Plus, the Eye of Insight seemed heavily linked to my spiritual sense anyway. That will not work either. The fog here blocks vision, kills the radar, and actively burns spiritual sense. My heart sank. Burns spiritual sense. Will it damage the Sea of Consciousness foundation itself? Think of the fog as a sea of fire and your spiritual energy as fuel. The second they touch, everything ignites. But if you are quick enough to cut the connection, you only lose that tiny bit of projected spiritual power. The core foundation stays perfectly safe. I calmed down a bit. Do fog islands have ranks too? They do. This one is a first-rank fog island. As for the rest, no idea. The island spirit paused. The difference is that normal resource islands never hold items above their own rank. But opportunities hidden inside a fog island can absolutely exceed that level. A dangerous place, but everyone flocks there anyway. Makes sense. I walked to the floating island edge, stared into the churning white fog, and hesitated. Playing it safe was definitely the smartest move, but some risks are absolutely worth taking. If I could just confirm that the Eye of Insight works inside this fog, that alone would make this gamble totally worth the risk. My mind was made up. Taking a deep breath, I shot the Eye of Insight straight into the dense fog and instantly snapped it back. Huh? Nothing happened. Just one quick out and back, and my nerves finally settled. I tried again, this time without an emergency stop. I began exploring, keeping a close watch on my sea of consciousness for any sudden movement. Honestly, not a single ripple. Truly incredible. I could not contain my massive excitement. The Eye of Insight actually works inside the fog island. Once calm, I ran the test repeatedly until I reached a mind-blowing conclusion. A realization that left me completely thrilled. This sky-covering fog that devours spiritual sense did absolutely nothing to the Eye of Insight. It completely ignored my body and my sea of consciousness too. Not even a single scratch. Well then, there was zero reason to hesitate anymore. I made my final decision right then and there. My next exploration target would be that island swallowed by the fog. Just not yet. Rushing in blind was a death wish. I would maximize my power first, then make a move. Back at the bluestone square in front of the island master's mansion, I sat down cross-legged and pulled out my blood spirit pills. Whatever riches or death traps that island was hiding, boosting my own strength came first. Everything else was strictly secondary. I swallowed the blood spirit pills one by one. My chi and blood surged, growing violently stronger with every passing second. If you stood close, you could literally hear thunder rolling through my veins. That was just my chi and blood roaring through my energy pathways. Breakthrough time. I swallowed 3 low-quality first blood spirit pills all at once. Violent chi and blood flooded my entire body. I fully activated my training technique. I guided it back and forth in a very unique rhythm. A violent swing, a crash, then another swing until hitting a critical threshold. Every pore on my body burst open simultaneously. White vapor poured from my skin, clearly visible to the naked eye. My skin instantly turned a deep crimson, glowing with scorching heat like a boiled shrimp shell. The impurities buried deep inside my blood were forcefully pushed out. Scorched by the chi and blood, those impurities hardened into bloody scabs. Then a shockwave of power instantly shattered them into scattered dust. After 3 full cycles, my skin faded from blood red into a bright, healthy pink, practically shining with vitality. Faint threads of a bloody glow drifted across the surface. My chi and blood had finally manifested externally. Body refining realm, 4th tier complete. I just could not stop a huge grin from forming. My raw strength increased by barely 1 kilogram compared to the 3rd tier peak. But the actual difference was literally heaven and earth. The 3rd tier could never manifest chi and blood externally, but the 4th tier could. My combat power just doubled, and still absolutely no bottleneck in sight. I muttered in awe, this divine-grade physique truly defies the laws of heaven. I knew it for sure. Given enough resources, I could keep pushing forward until I finally slammed into a real wall. Where would those resources come from? Hunting monsters. In other words, I just had to keep killing. Growing through every single battle. Getting a little stronger with every beast I took down. That thought alone made my blood boil. I stopped stance training and went straight to combat arts. I burned through 2 spirit pills and my daily divine ability limit, saving 1 pill for real emergencies. Then I cooked a meal, stuffed myself, and crashed straight into bed. As for that misty island, it could wait until I slept and recovered my strength. Before drifting off, I checked my status panel, smiled to myself, and fell into a deep sleep. Tester ID Blue Star 010. Subobai. Realm body refining 4th tier early stage. Strength 600.8 kilograms. Cultivation method 9 transformations of gods and demons manual. Primal chaos art of 9 revolutions 1st tier. Combat skills divine current. Gold breaking finger at 5%. 1,000-ton weight at 32% mastery. Galaxy snow. Traceless walk at 16%. Divine foundation. God level innate great power. The Eye of Insight. Points 25 out of 25. It reveals all stealth within 120 meters. Perceives everything. And grows stronger as cultivation advances. Personal space 30 cubic meters. Floating island level 1 island master palace. Base area 10,000 square meters. Blue Star Huaxia capital base. Zhang Yong had just finished giving his report to Central Command when an urgent message hit. He rushed straight back. Just how bad are Lu Feng's injuries? He is still ranked 2nd among the very first batch of Huaxia testers. First place right now belongs to Subobai. But the higher-ups still hold the fighter Lu Feng in incredibly high regard. He is stable, but needs time to recover on the floating island. He won't be heading out to explore again anytime soon. Wang Jian looked totally grim. Is the Misty Island seriously that dangerous? Over the phone, Zhang Yong had already heard the briefing. Lu Feng had been critically injured while exploring one of those foggy islands. Wang Jian nodded slowly and played a video. Just take a look, boss. The misty islands hold massive wealth, but they hide absolute terror too. First, thick fog blankets these places all year round. The second you step inside, visibility drops to 10 meters tops. You usually don't even sense danger until it is literally right above you. Out of 1,127 Misty Island explorations broadcast globally, the vast majority of testers took one look inside and ran for it. Only 216 pushed deeper. The death rate was 70%, with another 20% critically injured. Only 3 walked out without a scratch, but those 3 came back completely empty-handed, with zero loot to show for it. Second, it isn't just high-level monsters waiting to ambush you in there. The islands are packed with traps and natural death zones. One wrong step equals death. This time, Lu Feng got ambushed by a 3-star beast at the peak of level 1. If he hadn't grabbed a jade token giving him a temporary speed boost beforehand, he'd literally be dead. Even so, he got hurt badly. There is absolutely no chance he resumes exploring for the next 3 to 5 days. As Wang Jian spoke, his heart tightened with worry for Lu Feng. If Lu Feng went down, his second team would exist only on paper. Did he pull anything from that island? Zhang Yang asked. He managed to get a low-grade blood crystal. Wang Jian displayed an image of a crystal stone about the size of a mahjong tile. Pulsing life energy swirled inside it, radiating a faint crimson glow. If Subobai had been standing there, he would have noticed instantly. This perfectly intact, low-grade blood crystal was a full 3 times larger than the broken fragment he held. It was a massive haul. Zhang Yong sighed in relief. It has flowing life energy inside. That will be incredibly useful for both his healing and his cultivation. It is totally enough to make up for everything he lost on this trip. You could call it a blessing in disguise, as far as the whole world knows. Only 5 people max have managed to secure blood crystal trial rewards. Every single one snatched theirs from a misty island. Subai had already ended his stream by the time he grabbed his blood crystal, so they had absolutely no way of knowing about it. Keep a close eye on Lu Feng. Also, you have clearance to access all tester streams in the 9th zone of Blue Star. The exact second you spot anything regarding the Misty Islands or information that could help him, report to me immediately. That was literally all Zhang Yong could do right now. Stuck on Blue Star, unable to enter the trial space. Direct help for the testers was practically non-existent. All they could offer was raw intel and backing. Understood, sir. Leaving the second team, Zhang Yong headed straight to the first team, his brow furrowing in deep annoyance. The whole room was packed with people sipping tea and chatting, slacking off to an absurd degree. Subai hasn't gone live yet? He didn't explode. He just called Lu Min over, who answered not yet. But his channel number is still showing white. That means he is still alive in the trial, neither dead nor withdrawn. Even with the live stream offline, you can tell a participant's status just by checking their channel number's color. Gray means they quit voluntarily. Red means death and elimination. White means they are still testing. And green means they are broadcasting live right now. 4 colors for 4 clear statuses at a glance. Why is this kid stalling so much? It has been way longer than last time, right? Zhang Yang sounded just a little bit frustrated. Sir, it has actually only been 8 hours and 34 minutes. Lumen was totally used to this by now. He just scoffed. Huh, that is a pretty good attitude from you. Zhang Yang knew it too. Just a servant worrying way more than the emperor himself. He waved a hand toward the desk. Subai is offline right now, but that does not mean you all just sit around. The global combat rankings are being tallied right now. Keep a close eye on it. Yes, sir. Lumen understood the point instantly. Their team could not look lazy and give the rivals something to gossip about. So what was I doing, still sleeping? Of course not. Out on the floating Blue Star Island number 10,010. I woke up after just 4 hours of sleep and jumped right back into practicing my combat stance. This low-grade Tier 1 blood spirit pill. Its effect is incredibly weak, right? I refined one and checked my stat screen. A measly increase of 3 kilograms. I grimaced. The absolute peak of the 4th body refinement level was 3,600 kilograms. I needed 3,000 more kilograms to break through to the 5th level. At just 3 kilograms per pill, that meant 1,000 pills. Plus, the higher your cultivation, the weaker the pills get. So I actually need way more than 1,000. This is bad. I cannot keep relying on low-grade pills. I need to get my hands on some medium-grade Tier 1 blood spirit pills and fast. I quietly made up my mind. I happen to have one on me anyway. If not now, when? The second I swallowed it, a massive but gentle rush of chi and blood essence exploded from the pill, nourishing my flesh and blood. It expanded my meridians and accelerated my blood flow, forcing out every single impurity. It even toughened my skin. The leftover essence leaking through my pores was dragged right back into my body by my cultivation technique, cleansing and refining my physique repeatedly. Being completely immersed in cultivation, I totally lost track of time. When the pill wore off, an hour had passed. Strength increased by 220 pounds. Not bad. Way better than the low-grade ones, but still a little below my expectations. In theory, reaching the 5th level would take 30 medium-grade pills. The difficulty spike is brutal. Let us try the blood crystal next. I flipped my hand, and a cracked soybean-sized shard of blood crystal dropped right into my palm. Settling back into my combat stance, I pushed my chi and blood outward to wrap around the crystal layer by layer. This seemingly unbreakable stone met my energy, and it was like dropping it into the perfect solvent. Incredibly pure strands of chi and blood were drawn out of it. They swirled and fused with my energy, sinking back through my pores to be completely refined and absorbed, all of it transforming into pure physical strength. 1 hour, 2 hours, 4.5 hours later, the blood crystal melted away completely, like it was never even there. An increase of only 340 pounds. Way worse than the medium-grade pill. I frowned. I was looking at the hourly efficiency. I crunched the numbers, and the math was pretty clear. Low-grade blood spirit pills, 6 per hour, give nearly 40 pounds of strength. A medium-grade pill, 1 per hour, grants a 220-pound boost. Meanwhile, a low-grade blood crystal gives about 75 pounds an hour. The medium-grade pill was almost 3 times more efficient than the blood crystal, and the crystal was twice as effective as a low-grade pill. Still, medium-grade was the fastest path. I made my choice. Hunt down more Tier 1 monsters at 4 stars or higher. That is the real path to power. Current cultivation realm, early stage of the 4th body refinement level. Strength level 1,099 pounds. I took a quick breather, then threw together a bowl of instant chicken ramen with a fried egg. Vitality and spirit fully restored. I walked out of the Island Master's mansion and checked the massive countdown hanging in the sky. 9 cosmic days, 15 blue star days, 5 hours, 52 minutes, and 17 seconds. Hey Tower Spirit, how are Little Red and Little Dragon doing with their pills? Little Red is the Crimson Blood Rooster, and Little Dragon is the Giant Dragon Snake. Sir, the Crimson Blood Rooster has officially reached Tier 1 3 stars in the intermediate stage. As for the Giant Dragon Snake, it absorbs things a lot faster. It just broke through to Tier 1 4 stars early stage. All 40 low-grade blood spirit pills have been fully refined. I was actually a little surprised by that massive gap in speed. Both have different potentials, so their refining efficiency varies. Naturally, their breakthrough times differ as well. I had never hit a single bottleneck in my entire cultivation journey. But I knew better. Nobody else was getting it this easy. At the peak of every minor realm, most people get stuck for a bit. I shrugged the thought away. I summoned Little Red and Little Dragon. I needed their help. I was planning to reveal these 2 combat pets on purpose, and there were 3 main reasons for that. First, when I took down the Green-Eyed Snake King and Crimson-Tailed Rooster King, their battle companion eggs dropped right in front of everyone. Hiding it was impossible. If anyone else scored a combat pet later, they would instantly trace it back to me. Second, the next zone I planned to raid was Fog Island. If I used my Eye of Insight to stroll through that mist like it was flat ground, people would definitely get suspicious. But if I pin that skill on my little dragon's rare bloodline, it makes sense. Its senses easily outclass humans, letting it detect threats from miles away. Then everything makes perfect sense. He could wipe out the entire island for me, while I just sit back and reap the rewards. Sure, it will draw some pretty annoying envy, but that is a million times better than exposing my Eye of Insight. Damn it. The sheer size of those 2 beasts stepping out of the tower actually made me curse out loud. They were absolutely massive. The Green-Eyed Snake King, at peak level 1 of 4 stars, was only about 7 or 8 meters long. My little dragon was barely hitting level 1 of 4 stars, yet it had already stretched to nearly 10 meters, longer than the Snake King himself. And the Crimson-Tailed Rooster King at peak level 1 of 3 stars? It was roughly the size of a regular bull. Now sitting at mid 3 stars, Little Red stood even taller, lifting its head easily over 4 meters high. The dragon flicked its tongue, gliding quietly over to me. It lowered that massive head, nuzzling its snout right against my waist. Seeing that, Little Red instantly scrambled over too, totally terrified of losing my attention. He bumped his head gently against mine. Such a good boy. Their affection honestly tickled a little. I reached out and patted both of these gentle giants. Do not let that terrifying size fool you. At the end of the day, they were barely a dozen hours old. Just total babies. Time to get moving. I stared at the dense clouds rolling over Fog Island in the distance, muttering under my breath. Islands, start the live stream. Understood, sir. Capital Base First Team. Captain Subobai was live. Little Lee had been chilling with his coffee, but he bolted upright instantly. He did not even care that hot coffee just splashed all over his pants. Start recording the screen now and watch those comments like a hawk. Lu Min smoothly barked out orders, and right then, He was the first guy to send the good news to Zhangyong, an office building over in Shanghai. Li Wenhao was tidying his desk, tossing a half-empty drink in his bag to clock out. "Subai is live. Quick, look." His coworker shouted and his hand completely froze. He whipped out his phone and tapped the stream. In that exact moment, across the entire blue star and the endless civilizations of the primitive star region, everyone following Subai's channel got an instant alert. One by one, they clicked in, dying to know what this guy was up to after vanishing entirely for over 12 hours. Comments instantly flooded the screen. "Old Bai, you are finally alive. How was I supposed to survive without you? What the hell? How did monsters sneak onto his island? Hey streamer, watch your back. Two massive beasts are standing right behind you. Did this maniac already jump to the second island? Are you blind? Those two monsters are standing perfectly still right by Old Bai's mansion. What on earth is going on? Didn't the rules say beasts could not enter a challenger's floating island during the first cosmic day? That rule only applies to hostile monsters. And those two do not look like they want to kill anything at all. They are chilling right next to Old Bai. If they really wanted to ambush him, he would already be dead. Besides, considering how paranoid Old Bai usually is, how could he possibly miss them? Then, somebody finally caught on. Those are his battle companions, right? But seriously, look at that terrifying size. Their current cultivation levels aren't low at all. He has two of them right below the fourth realm. Aren't you only allowed to contract a single companion? Right then, Iron Star from the 5-star Starfall Empire showed some real interest in me for the first time. I stood there watching the chat fly past like an absolute blizzard. Every single person was asking about the massive beasts right behind me. I flashed a slight smile, jabbing a thumb over my shoulder at the giants. "You really do have a sharp eye, Iron Star. These two are my combat partners." As for how I formed 2 contracts before the 4th realm, I actually found a fragment of a beast-taming manual in my loot. Ding, Iron Star from the 5-star domain. The Starfall Empire dropped a tip of 1 black iron coin. Okay, the beast tamer excuse makes sense, but neither of them is weak. How did you pull that off? Down in the green-eyed Snake King's den below that little hill, I managed to dig up a rare blood crystal. There was another one inside the crimson-tailed Rooster King's nest too. Toss in the other resources I hoarded, and that is how I leveled them up so incredibly fast. 9 parts truth, 1 part lie. I kept my mouth shut about the blood crystal's actual grade and hidden flaws, and never even mentioned the blood spirit pills. The chat realized it at once, so the secret was blood crystals. This streamer honestly has insane luck, snagging 2 of them on his very first resource island. Even if they are low-grade early on, that is still a massive fortune. Iron Star chimed in again, the sun is coming up. But what exactly is a blood crystal anyway? That specific question instantly hooked the rest of the viewers. I saw someone pull one from a fog island before. Gotta be good loot. With Iron Star backing me up, nobody questioned how I scored 2 combat pets so fast. People even started guessing the secret behind my training methods. Then the chat completely pivoted back to those blood crystals. One guy guessed I was holding more than 2. I immediately changed the subject. Talk too much and my cover is blown. Before signing off last time, I promised to explore a brand new floating island this run. I raised my hand, pointing out into the distance. Fog Island. The camera panned on cue, the whole place drowned in heavy fog. You cannot see a thing inside, like some massive beast lying in wait. Yo bye, this is extremely dangerous. I have watched tons of streams, and practically nobody explores Fog Island and makes it out in one piece. You already have a huge advantage. No need to risk everything. I just smiled, thanks for the heads up, guys. I still want to give it a shot. Do not worry. I will pull out the second things go bad. No reckless moves. Plus, I have 2 helpers right here. I patted the guys beside me. Xiao, long time to move out. I stood right at the border between the 2 islands. Warm light on one side, a dead apocalyptic silence on the other. On camera, the contrast looked completely breathtaking. Heaven on one side, pure hell on the other. Someone in chat was actually panicking. I wiped my sweaty palms. Let us go. I gripped the Zhuge repeating crossbow tighter and stepped right into the fog. Truth is, I already scanned the area using the Eye of Insight. Completely empty for a solid 120 meters. That is exactly why I stayed so calm. True courage never comes from being reckless. It comes from knowing you are in total control. The screen went pitch black. My vision shrank inward until I could only see 10 meters out. Beyond that, just a creeping wall of gray fog. The Titan scowled ahead. Dragon slithered forward, vanishing into the fog. Xiao Qi, watch my back. The blood-crested rooster fell back, posting up 20 meters behind me. The camera only showed me now, but I stayed mentally linked to them, using the Eye of Insight to track their every move. Bye, what tactic is this? You cannot even see your combat pets. What if things go south? You guys just do not get it. I said that because I already had my explanation ready. Xiaolong senses danger in the fog before it happens. So I send him up front. Xiaoqi lacks that ability, but our minds are fully linked. He will warn me the second anything shows up. Now my front and back are completely covered. One has the radar, one does not. This keeps the suspicion down. If both pulled the same trick, people would really start asking questions. Shame I only have two. If I had four, I would put one in every direction, front, back, left, and right. I would be totally untouchable. Bro, listen to yourself. You are the first guy on the entire Blue Star to score a combat pet. You have two. And still whine it is not enough. Yeah, quit the humble bragging. Say that again, and I will come over there and absolutely wreck you. Then the smile froze on my face. A jolt hit my chest. A warning from Xiaolong, talk later. Before the words even left my mouth, I was already sprinting straight ahead. My body tearing through that heavy fog exactly like a ship slicing through crashing waves. A second later, a guttural snarl. A void beast roared, tearing through the space ahead of me. A peak tier 1 3-star wild mastiff. Basically a pup, but rabid, totally bloodthirsty and vicious enough to fight to the bitter end. The fog cleared just enough. An elephant-sized beast was charging dead straight at Xiaolong. Wolf body, mastiff head, eyes burning crimson. 3 meters out, the wild mastiff dropped low, pausing its charge for a fraction of a second. That was all the time he needed. Xiaolong swung his massive tail, crashing down from above. Boom! The mastiff slammed into the mud. Limbs snapping, half its body crumpled into the dirt. Thick blood oozed from every orifice. It tried fighting back, but Xiaolong already clamped down on its neck, pumping in the venom. One last desperate shriek, and it stopped breathing forever. Ding, your combat pet has killed a peak tier 1, 3-star savage beast, the wild mastiff. I earned 60 tier 1 points. Combat pet kills still count toward my own total score. Honestly, that felt way better than looting it myself. Totally insane. A peak tier 1, 3-star beast, and it dropped in just... What is Xiaolong's actual power level anyway? And what about you, Bai? What the hell were you actually doing during those 12+ hours you spent offline? By the way, what beast is Xiaolong? He definitely does not look like a green-eyed snake. Well, if Bai call him Little Dragon, maybe he actually is one. Names can be wrong, but titles never lie. Bai is trying to hide the truth, but he is totally failing. Chat argued back and forth until Big Brother Taxing chimed in. Judging by that sheer power, the Little Dragon is mid-stage tier 1, 4-star at most. He dwarfs the green-eyed Snake King because his bloodline is higher and stronger. He likely carries demonic beast blood. Demonic beast blood? What is the actual difference between that and a normal savage beast? Since Taiying didn't elaborate, I gave a quick breakdown. Wild beasts kill strictly on instinct, while demonic beasts have awakened intelligence, pure bloodlines, and way stronger innate powers. I kind of let some secrets slip during the explanation. Yeah, the Little Dragon really does carry demonic beast blood. Enough talking, guys. Let's see exactly what this wild dog dropped. Is that red gem a blood crystal? I watched the loot hovering clearly above the corpse. 2 500-win banknotes, and a jagged red blood crystal about the size of a bean. I stepped forward, tossed the corpse into my beast tower, and shoved the cash and crystal right into my personal space. It really is. A low-grade blood crystal, just like the 2 I snagged before, but this one is definitely damaged. The Little Dragon came over, affectionately rubbing his head against my hand. I knew exactly what he wanted. I chuckled and patted his head. Easy now. This crystal is yours. You can have it the second we hit base. He instantly started nodding, smiling like an absolute goof. A completely different look from the cold-blooded killer he was just a few seconds ago. No gear dropped, but a blood crystal is worth way more than most equipment anyway. Anyway, the loot on Fog Island doesn't seem any worse than other spots. The only thing that really bothers me here is the absolute zero visibility. I couldn't lock onto anything with my ranged weapons. Suddenly, the Little Dragon raised his head, locking his eyes right into the thick fog. Master, danger is approaching. I froze in place. I was just showing off his senses. I never expected he actually possessed this kind of power. Right after his warning, 3 wild dogs finally stepped into the range of my eye of insight. His senses reached even further than my own power. Back into the fight we go. Maybe all that earlier howling drew them in. I pulled my Zhuge repeating crossbow and glared into the fog. Then another monster slipped in from the left side. Tier 1, 4 stars, late stage. That is the real threat here. They are definitely holding a grudge. They won't stop until one of us drops dead. I used my mental link to summon Xiaoqi. The 3 wild dogs circled around us, flashing in and out of the thick fog, waiting to ambush me. I am never giving them that kind of opening. Right as they appeared, I fired. 2 bolts slammed directly into the dogs, poking their heads out. The 3rd dog stayed hidden, so I saved my ammo. Get them, Xiaoqi. The crimson-blooded rooster instantly charged forward. 1 strike from his sharp beak, a single heavy stomp, and both wounded wild dogs dropped completely dead in a fraction of a second. that provoked the hidden dog. It charged us, but she cleanly intercepted it. I ended it with another bolt, then spun around and sprinted toward the little dragon. Just one injured beast left. Xiaoqi can handle it easily. Xiaolong distracted. Send me its location. I aimed that last part straight at the live chat. 3 quick bolts ripped straight through the heavy fog. To the viewers, it just looked like blind firing, but I could see every single detail. One bolt pierced the eye, another pinned the hoof. The final shot purposely missed by just a hair. It buried itself in the mud nearby. Sickening howls echoed out. The wild mastiff tumbled out of the fog, screaming in agony. All everyone else saw was Xiaolong sliding to within 5 meters, opening his jaws and spitting a toxic spike that nailed the downed beast perfectly. The wound rotted at shocking speed. Let me end your misery. I fired a bolt straight into its skull. A system chime rang out. Wild mastiff killed. Tier 1 beast 4 stars. Reward is 16 points and another blood crystal. Was this really the main specialty of Fog Island? A flawed low-grade silver coins. Still 0 drop gear. I didn't have any time to stand around overthinking it. I quickly packed the loot and the carcass, yanked my bolts from the dirt, then rushed toward Xiaoyi to collect all 3 wild mastiff bodies. Come on, let's keep moving. Xiaolong naturally took point again while Xiaoyi guarded my back. The 5 square kilometers of Fog Island weren't huge, but with literally no sense of direction and 0 visibility up ahead, the fog honestly made this tiny island feel completely endless. Since Xiaolong could genuinely sense danger, I deactivated my Eye of Insight to preserve spiritual energy, letting him guide the way. No idea how long we walked until he triggered another warning. Figuring it was just another wild mastiff, I stepped forward and flipped my Eye of Insight back on. Huh? Something was actually pinging inside my range. But it wasn't some kind of fierce monster. Just a tiny pool about 2 meters wide. Xiaolong stood right on the edge. The pool wasn't filled with water. It was filled with blood. A complete pool of pure blood. A dark, shiny crimson, exactly like some supervillain's boiling blood cauldron in a movie. A blood spring. Tier 1 mid-grade. Ancient battlefields or the burial grounds of mighty beings. Simmering over hundreds of millions of years. They usually trigger the birth of blood crystal veins. And right before a main vein forms, these blood springs sprout up everywhere around it. Once the earth forms, the springs get absorbed and condensed. This was the absolute purest essence of blood and chi. Bathe in this stuff and it can actually boost your spiritual cultivation. Totally incredible. Could this be the real treasure hidden on Fog Island? My heart pounded, but my legs kept moving. A few quick strides and I was at the edge of the pool. Cultivate here or take it, no time to think. This place was too dangerous. I had to pack it, but I lacked a container. So I did exactly what I did last time at the river. I used an iron pot to scoop up the blood spring. But right before moving it to my personal space, a different thought hit me. Inside my sea of consciousness, I asked the tower spirit, could this blood spring be refined directly into blood spirit pills? And could the essence of anything made of flesh be extracted? A blood spring is basically the blood of ancient experts. Of course it works. My spirit soared. Fantastic. Refine everything and turn it all into blood spirit pills. So I stopped hoarding it in my personal space, sending it straight to the 9th floor of the Endless Beast Tower. The viewers never noticed a thing. What is that stuff? Is it blood? Or just water mixed with red minerals? Maybe it's the nature of Fog Island, or just an optical illusion from the light. What is Old Bai doing? Can you even drink that? Isn't he worried about poison? Even if it's safe to drink, why bottle water in a danger zone like this? What's the point? The chat drowned in utter confusion. But I knew the truth. This red water they called worthless was the island's true treasure. Some opportunities are exactly like that, sitting in plain sight. But only those who see their real value will actually grab them. Contestant number 10,010 from the Blue Star is incredibly lucky. He actually stumbled upon a blood spring. Immel's voice echoed across the live stream. That stuff is absolutely priceless. Its quality sits just below a low-level blood crystal. If he refines all that blood spring water, his cultivation level will skyrocket. What exactly is a blood spring? You can probably guess from the name. It's a cultivation resource, exactly like a blood crystal. Old Bai is about to get extremely rich. The chat exploded with hype. But the second I poured the first pot into the beast tower, I heard it. A terrifying roar from afar. A deep, brutal howl, overflowing with raw, killing intent. Then came a second and a third, crashing through the fog like violent waves. Dead silence fell over the live stream. Someone asked, why does this feel so incredibly familiar? Last time when Old Bai harvested that blood rice, didn't those red-tailed chickens go completely crazy too? The blood rice was their literal lifeline. This blood spring is the lifeline for the wild mastiff. A perfect deduction. Too bad absolutely nobody was there to tell me that. I had no time to think anyway. I opened my Eye of Insight. The area within my vision was empty. It was safe. How the hell did they find me? And from that far away, I only scooped one single pot. I cursed under my breath, but my hands never stopped moving. A second pot, then a third. 7 wild mastiffs charged into my field of vision. 3 of them were rank 1 4-star beasts. The fourth pot. The leading dog was only 80 meters away, and 23 more suddenly appeared in my sight all at once. With the fifth pot in hand, I grabbed the iron pot and my 2 battle pets, sprinting straight toward the floating island without looking back. That direction only held a single rank 1 3-star beast. It was the weakest gap in their siege, simply because it was the way I came from. Damn it. Just a minute ago, I could barely find a few of them. Now over 100 monsters showed up at once. A cold shiver hit me. The Bloodspring really was their lifeline. The chat blew up, demanding I stop acting like a coward. You have 2 battle pets. What are you scared of? Didn't you face hundreds of green-eyed snakes alone before? Wipe them out and you will get massive loot. I sighed heavily. Over 100 wild mastiffs. Half were rank 1 4-star. How was I supposed to win this? This was something only I knew and couldn't say out loud. I had no idea how many eyes were watching me through screens, plotting my downfall. I reported it to the bureau, and that director just stood there holding his coffee, a cold smirk on his lips. Some people really wanted me to walk straight into my grave. Meanwhile, others in the live chat were quietly pushing back against that wave of malice. A silent war had broken out inside my live stream. I could see everything perfectly, but I just had to pretend I didn't notice a thing. Luckily, the blood spring wasn't far from the floating island. I ignored the fog completely, using the Eye of Insight to dodge every wild mastiff with precision, and sprinted until I safely reached the island. Boom, boom, boom. 2 seconds later, the crashing sounds merged into one massive bang. The wild mastiffs chasing me couldn't stop in time, slamming into the protective barrier one after another. You guys came to me yourselves, so don't blame me for holding absolutely nothing back. I grabbed my heavy black iron spear, aimed at 2 glowing red eyes in the fog, and thrust with all my might. The sound of tearing flesh. That familiar sound of steel sinking into meat. My arms shook violently, as beast brains splattered everywhere. A system chime. Killed a rank 1 4-star mastiff. Reward is 121 ranking points. Left hand on the spear shaft, both arms tensing. I tossed the corpse and its loot onto the floating island. Another thrust followed by a loud metallic clang like hitting an iron plate. That late-stage 4-star rank 1 wild mastiff swatted my spear aside with a single swipe. Meanwhile, I was stuck at just the early stage of level 4 body refining. My first strike only killed a stronger mastiff instantly because they were dizzy from the crash. They were caught completely off guard. A second strike would never get that lucky. They threw up their blood-key shields one by one, and my heavy black iron spear was just a low-grade rank 1 weapon. Unless I nailed a vital spot, the spear was never punching through that armor. I did not push my luck. Piercing 4-star beasts was impossible right now. So I started hunting the 3-star ones first. I swapped targets and dragged the fight back into my control. 4 lightning-fast thrusts and 4 rank 1 3-star mastiffs dropped dead right there. Despite being brainless, the wild mastiffs finally realized what was going on. A massive peak 4-star rank 1 mastiff let out a furious roar. The entire pack instantly backed away as one, stepping just outside my spear range. Did they really think a little distance would save them? I stashed the spear. In a flash, a short-barreled pistol materialized right in my palm. The Black Star. Boom, boom. With the Eye of Insight active, the mastiffs crawled in super slow motion, zoomed in like they stood inches away. I was a dead-eye sniper, plain and simple. My very first target was that giant mastiff, the one shouting the retreat orders while hiding behind the pack. It was completely different from the rest of the mongrels. A wild mastiff, right at the absolute peak of rank 1 4 stars. The guardian beast of the blood spring, only 1 step from 5 stars. The mystic thunder fruit was almost ripe. It guarded the center of Mist Island, hoping that treasure would finally trigger its breakthrough. It never expected anyone to sneak in and rob the blood spring blind. Right now, it is locked in a brutal deathmatch against you. Either you kill it, or it guards this place forever, and you never step onto Mist Island again. Every single question in my head got answered right then. The blood spring was not unguarded at all. I just arrived at the perfect time, exploiting that tiny window while it was gone. And those 3 specific words left me frozen, totally unable to look away. Mystic Thunderfruit. A treasure capable of pushing the wild mastiff beyond rank 1. 5 stars. If it could push a beast past its limits, it could do the exact same for me. I possessed divine-grade bone roots. I had 0 bottlenecks right now. But handing this fruit to Little Red or Little Dragon, my breathing sped up. The fruit was almost ripe. I had to wipe out these wild mastiffs fast if I wanted any shot at reaching the center. My killing intent flared. Boom, boom. 2 bullets. One pierced an eye, the other shattered its snout completely. Blood sprayed high as the giant mastiff crashed down, howling and writhing in the dirt. I had to strike while it was vulnerable. I pulled the trigger. One bullet straight between the eyes, ding. Kill confirmed. One peak 4-star beast down. Wild Mastiff reward 200 rank 1 points. Ding, Bloodspring Guardian Beast eliminated. Reward 1 miniature Spirit Spring deposit directly into your personal space. A Spirit Spring. I froze for just 1 second. Not a Blood Spring, a Spirit Spring. Now even my drinking water problem was totally solved. But I had no time to celebrate. I needed to press the advantage. 1 bullet for every Mastiff. Good luck dead in a single shot. Bad luck bleeding out from a fatal wound. Either way, they would die sooner or later. I emptied 10 rounds and reloaded in a flash. The comment section exploded again. Wait, is that a pistol? How the hell is something like that in the testing space? Is it a system glitch? Wait, it dropped from the Azure Snake King. I knew it looked like a pistol from the start. Damn, we really underestimated this testing space. With a gun like that, isn't he literally invincible? Is that even fair? Just calm down. Someone actually pulled a hand grenade from the lottery once. But in the end, these are all just external tools. The only thing you can truly rely on is your own raw strength. That last part was true, but right now, the Black Star was my sharpest fang. Roar. Losing their guardian beast had apparently ignited the pack's sheer grief and total rage. Seeing me stand totally still, they hurled themselves at the barrier again. Blind with rage, they tried to smash the shield to pieces and tear me apart. Totally useless. They bashed themselves dizzy, yet the barrier never budged a single inch. I switched back to the heavy black iron spear. Stepping near the edge, I thrust repeatedly, taking down more 3-star beasts. Suddenly, a massive force yanked the weapon. A late-stage 4-star rank 1 wild mastiff clamped its jaws right over the shaft, aggressively dragging it backwards. My reflexes were just fast enough. I instantly let go, letting it rip the weapon away. Bracing myself just in time, I stopped from tumbling forward. The tip of my nose was barely an inch from the barrier. A cold sweat hit me. Slightly more and I'd be pulled right outside. I warned myself things had gone way too smoothly. I had gotten careless. I could never drop my guard ever again. Not for 1 single second. With the heavy spear gone, I drew my black iron blade. Unfortunately, this weapon was way too short. Slashing a 3-star mastiff with it left nothing but shallow, superficial cuts. A mere scratch for a beast this huge. Wasting ammo on it would be completely foolish. Such a waste. So I sheathed my sword and pulled out my pistol instead. Bang, bang, bang. 10 consecutive shots completely emptied the magazine. Finally, even the wild mastiffs began to settle down. They could never break the barrier. This annoying 2-legged freak refused to step out, so they simply had to take the hits. They finally decided to retreat. No way I'd just let them run. I instantly grabbed my Chuja repeating bow. 10 arrows flew out simultaneously, dropping 10 more targets, but that was the absolute limit. The remaining mastiffs had already vanished into the thick fog, moving completely out of my attack range. I stepped deeper into Fog Island, trying to lure the beasts back out. Useless. Once they left, they never came back. Unlike those completely brainless red-tailed chickens, these wild creatures were actually much smarter. What a shame. I sighed and started sweeping the battlefield, quickly finishing off the severely wounded mastiffs. I gathered every corpse and piece of loot, counting them to ensure absolutely nothing was left behind. Then, I headed back to the floating island. Seeing all this collected loot sparked some serious jealousy in the stream chat. The guy cannot even see. How the hell did he kill so many? Little dragon senses danger, right? It just relays the information straight to Old Pie. Over 100 of them swarmed the place. He just fired right at their border crossing point. He could wipe out an entire wave with his eyes closed. Who cares how he did it? The guy simply slaughters everything. Old Pie is an absolute monster. Ding. The official Chinese government just donated 100 gold coins. Instantly, the screen flooded with an endless wave of matching messages. Subobai, we represent the Chinese government. What are your exact plans for all those wild mastiff corpses? If you can't store them, we're fully prepared to buy a batch at the trial space price. But if you need them, no pressure. You are the main priority here. Mastiff corpses. I sank into thought for a moment. I had already hit level 4 of the body refining realm, and so had Little Dragon. Little Chi already had enough blood spirit pills to break through to the 4-star tier 1 level. After that, we'd only need medium-grade tier 1 blood spirit pills. So selling off the wild mastiffs below 4 stars really wasn't a bad option at all. During my very first trip to Fog Island, I killed 42 wild mastiffs in total. 29 were 4-star tier 1, and 13 were 3-star. Nothing lower. The 4-star ones were far more common. And the reason for that was actually quite simple. Using the Black Star and repeating bow on 3-star beasts was total overkill. Tower Spirit, are the mastiff corpses still here? My heart's still here. You never ordered me to refine them, so I won't act on my own. I let out a massive sigh of relief and slowly waved my hand. Instantly, 13 3-star Tier 1 wild mastiff corpses appeared right in the stream's view. Island Spirit, exactly how much are these corpses worth? Sir, a wild mastiff's most valuable asset is its heart blood. That is closely followed by its hide, then its fangs and claws, and last, the actual meat. The meat is incredibly tough and tastes terrible, holding less than a tenth of the total value despite making up most of the weight. The Island Spirit paused to evaluate a peak 3-star beast. The heart is worth 50 gold coins, the hide 25, the fangs and claws 10, and the body 8. That totals exactly 93 coins. How much does this beast weigh? I pointed to one peak monster and asked. Over 14,000 kilograms. That is incredibly heavy. My heart sank. The microchannel can only transport a maximum of 10,000 kilograms per trip. That isn't even enough for one single beast. I addressed the stream, you heard it yourselves. Buying a whole beast just isn't worth the hassle. So here's the deal. I'm selling the hearts, hides, fangs, and claws of these 13 beasts. If that doesn't hit 10,000 kilograms, I'll add eggs and blood rice. Then I'll fill the rest with wild mastiff meat. Sound good? Look, I'm no saint. But whenever possible, I'm fully prepared to lend my country a hand. An orphan doesn't grow up healthy and reach university all alone. There are absolutely some debts of gratitude that need repaying. Remember, in a chaotic world like this, an orphan like me should have died 1,000 times over. But things are completely different now. Everything I'm selling to China is simply loot I no longer need. This way, I can help my own people while still making some pretty solid profit. It's a win-win, so why not? Thank you, Subobai. We will proceed with your plan. Just send the final price whenever you're ready. The Chinese government. Lu Min's message carried unmistakable excitement. No wonder 13 hearts from 3-star Tier 1 beasts are currently priceless to China. This was essentially a massive lifeline for them. All right, give me a second. I drew a black iron blade, then suddenly paused and faced the camera. What happens next gets incredibly bloody. Honestly, it's not worth watching anyway. I'll cut the feed now and restart it once I'm completely finished. Before the comments could flood in, I instantly killed the stream. Tower Spirit, can you extract those 13 mastiff hearts without causing any damage? Yes, there's no need to slice them open, saving enormous time. I smiled, fully satisfied. Keep those hearts intact alongside the heart blood. Refine the meat and set the hides, claws, and fangs aside separately. They'll be useful later. I dragged the 13 corpses into the 9th floor of the 10,000 Beast Tower. Yes, sir. 10 seconds flat. It was completely over. The Tower Spirit's efficiency was absolutely flawless. Hearts, pelts, claws, and fangs. What is the exact weight? 741.3 kilograms. Now I have a baseline. First, I stashed the hearts in my personal space to lock in their life essence. Then I grabbed 20 red-tailed chicken eggs, 30 green-eyed snake eggs, 20 kilograms of blood rice, and a low-grade rank 1 divine weapon, the golden snake dagger, plus 2 snake blood herbs. The total weight is now 926 kilograms. I chopped up almost half that 4-star rank 1 wild mastiff. We hit 9,998.3 kilograms. Let's top it off with blood rice. Some dried grains instantly flew right into my hand. Sir, it weighs exactly 10,000 kilograms. The base price is 1,470 gold coins. Adding channel and shipping fees, that makes 3,470 coins total. After taking my 80% cut for hauling the cargo, I earned 1,176 coins this round. Really not bad. With the cargo packed, I gave my order. Tower Spirit, refine the remaining corpses. Butchering takes forever. I only paused the broadcast for a few minutes. Returning instantly would expose my secret and draw unwanted attention. I will just use this downtime to tally up my loot. This little trip to Fog Island netted me 42 wild mastiff corpses, 221 silver, 10,600 bronze, and an intact low-grade blood crystal. 26 shattered blood crystals, a miniature spirit spring, and 5 bowls of blood spring. I scowled. 42 dead monsters and 0 gear drops. Was the drop rate really this terrible, or were they just completely broke? Sir, the refining is fully complete. 10 blood spirit pills and 2 spirit pills, all rank 1 medium grade. The Tower Spirit pulled me right back to reality. The blood spring yielded 4 rank 1 medium grade blood spirit pills. I just couldn't hide my massive grin. The leftover blood spring water can easily fill at least 20 bowls. That means over 20 medium grade blood spirit pills. That is plenty to push my energy straight into the 5th level of the body refining realm. Little long, little chi, train as hard as you can. These low-grade blood spirit pills and blood crystals are all yours now. I never cheap out on my pets. Thank you, Master. You are the greatest master in the entire world. The 2 little guys cheered joyfully inside the tower. Without the infinite beast tower separating us, they absolutely would have tackled me in pure joy. Once they finally settled down, I slipped around to the back of the island master's mansion, a complete blind spot the stream couldn't reach. I pulled out the miniature spirit spring model and slowly set it down. It became a phantom projection, expanding outward little by little. A wide spring basin appeared, 1.5 meters across, just under 2 meters deep. It shifted from an illusion into solid reality. Clear water bubbled up from a tiny hole in the center. This premium rank 1 miniature spirit spring produces 100 milliliters of spirit water every hour, stopping once full. The water holds a faint trace of cosmic source energy. Drinking it regularly boosts your physical build and heals deep, hidden injuries. It strengthens your overall foundation and gives a real chance to upgrade your bone root. It works best on unranked or rank 1 holders. Plus, it can water spirit plants to vastly accelerate their growth. It actually transforms the bone root. My eyes narrowed in pure shock. I'd always heard a bone root could be upgraded after birth, but nobody actually knew how to pull it off. Turns out the answer was right here. I don't need it. But the world is full of people with weak bone roots and entirely too much money to burn. Even ignoring that entirely, the Spirit Spring's other perks were amazing enough. The only real flaw was its brutally slow production, 2.4 liters daily. Not even enough for me and my 2 pets to split. I inhaled deeply, shaking my head with a wry smile. I am just too greedy. This is already fantastic. Human greed truly knows no bounds. Knowing when to be satisfied is what actually keeps you moving forward. Back at the mansion's entrance, I refined 3 more medium-grade blood spirit pills. Once I figured enough time had passed, I finally had the island spirit restart the live stream. La, you are finally back. Do you have any idea what I just suffered through for 3 hours? I stayed up all night for this. 3 whole hours playing Butcher. How did it feel? You can literally see the exhaustion in Brother Bay's eyes. This kind of manual labor totally wrecks you, man. Especially without any machines to help out. Streamer, you just wasted 3 entire hours for nothing. Never do that again. It is incredibly stupid. I honestly couldn't tell if this guy was actually supporting me, or if he just didn't want China scoring a sweet deal. If it actually took 3 hours, I would definitely think twice before trading again. But the truth is, it only took a few minutes. I just couldn't say that out loud. Oh, it is fine. Good chance to practice my knife skills. Subobai, thank you for your hard work. That was a completely unintentional oversight on our end. We will never trade in a way that burns your precious time again. It just isn't worth it. China's official Luo Ming saw those comments too. Honestly, given the massive stream delay, they had already figured it out. Zhang Yong made the call instantly. When trading with Chinese testers, we would rather skip the deal entirely than waste their time. We will figure that out later. Everything is ready to go now. I tuned out the comments and started presenting each item, one by one. First up, 13 level 1 3-star wild mastiff hearts, plus 13 sets of hides, claws, and fangs. The heart blood works for cultivation, while the hides, claws, and fangs can be researched to forge new close combat weapons. Second, a low-grade level 1 divine weapon, the golden snake dagger, for your research teams. If China can mass-produce these, it would be an absolute blessing. I also have 2 low-grade level 1 spiritual herbs, snake blood grass. Test them out and see if they grow on Blue Star. Third, 20 red-tailed chicken eggs and 30 jade snake eggs. You can hatch the jade snake eggs and tame them. They make pretty incredible combat pets. Even if taming fails, you can just raise them on farms. Snake gallbladders are super useful for cultivation. As does give a man a fish and feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. If we actually breed these locally, China's future gets a much stronger foundation. Finally, some chicken blood rice. Chicken blood rice is absolutely crucial for cultivators in the body refining stage. As your level rises, your energy and blood consumption skyrockets. Normal Blue Star food simply cannot keep up. You have to rely on the spiritual rice. Getting it to grow is totally up to your own research efforts. But if you pull it off, it is going to be a massive achievement. I made sure every word landed heavy, pushing the importance of localized production, setting up the channel, and shipping operations. The grand total comes out to 3,470 gold coins. We can trade whenever you are ready. I am crying. Uncle Bai is so kind. He is always looking out for his people. The more emotional viewers actually had tears welling up. The quantity is not huge, but every single piece matters. They are essential for passing early trials. Once this succeeds, China steps into the great era faster and steadier. Subai, the funds are ready to go. Official Lu Min, Zhang Yong, and the whole team stared dead at the screen. This was not just my very first sale. It was theirs too. And the first for Blue Star. All right, let us start the exchange. Yes, sir. The second those words dropped, a black hole ripped open above the floating island, swallowing the goods instantly. Back in China, the hovering token vanished, taking a literal mountain of gold with it. The exchange tab quietly updated. Trial participant ID, Blue Star 1010. Name Subobai. Body refining level 4, early stage, strength 1165.8 kilograms. Cultivation art, 9 transformations god and demon manual. 9 transformations primal chaos chap, first layer. Combat techniques. Under heaven stream god finger gold breaking 5%. Ninefold profound origin 1000-ton spear 33%. Star river snow treading trace 16%. Physique divine grade innate. Divine energy. Divine insight AI 12 minutes and 22 seconds out of 25 minutes. Sees through all concealment within 120 meters. Perceives all things. Range expands with deeper cultivation. Wallet 224 silver and 17,195 bronze. Level 1 points 8,041. Human level 1,556. Founding funds 23.4 black gold and 19,900 gold. Tips 117 black gold and 99,500 gold. Bets 2,947 blue gold, 114,800 black gold, and 20,185,400 gold. Goods 1,470 self-supplied. Fans 37,558. Personal space 30 cubic meters. Floating island level 1. Core Lord Manor area 10,000 meters or 1 kilometer. Radar 300 meters out of 1,000. Propulsion 30 out of 100 kilometers per hour. Resources miniature spiritual spring. January 2nd, many changes. Self-supplied minted goods I secured myself, 80% profit. Commissioned mints sold to others, just 10% off. Still zero as of right now. Before I knew it, tips and goods alone brought me almost 45,000 gold coins. I ran the numbers silently, but looking at over 30,000 fans that barely averaged 1 coin per person. Not even close to the founding capital I needed for a territory. The thing that really caught my eye was the betting pool. It would take a wildly dazzling performance to lure in heavy hitters willing to bet. Goods received. So much for your generosity, Mr. Huaxia official. Lu Min sent the message while Jiang Yong watched closely. I shook my head with a faint smile. No need for thanks. It is just business. A win for both sides. Then I paused and added the blood and vital energy inside the heart dissipates incredibly fast. Have someone use it as quickly as possible. Capital base. Put the heart in a special container right away. Rush it to the Dragon Squad. Take the absolute fastest route. Jiang Yong wasted zero time. Yes, sir, send the rest to Research Institute 628. Set up on June 28th. That institute gathered top Huaxia scientists from every single field, all completely dedicated to studying items from the trial space. Yes, sir. Deal done. I let out a heavy sigh and started chatting with the viewers about Mist Island. Conversation done. I immediately changed the subject. All right, guys. I racked up a solid amount of points. Time to roll the dice. Island Spirit Tier 1 draw. Consume 1,000 Tier 1 points. Right on cue, 3 carved wooden crates appeared. Way fancier than your average loot boxes. I triggered the Eye of Insight instantly. Crane Control Art, Tier 1 mid-grade. You can train this all the way up to Body Refining Level 6. It includes the crane step movement technique. Pretty strong, but entirely useless to me. Skip Black Iron Blade Tier 1 low-grade. I already own 2 of those. Next up, a Tier 1 mid-grade ammo pack for the Black Star pistol. 4 boxes, 200 rounds total. Incredible they actually have this. My heart pounded. I honestly thought the Black Star was scrap once the bullets ran out. I kept hoping for ammo drops after hunting. But that wild mastiff gave me absolutely nothing. Turns out it was waiting for me here. Just like the island spirit said, this point gacha truly has everything. It always heavily favors what you need. If I can pull ammo, maybe I can find bolts for the Zhuge repeating crossbow too. Might actually score both. But to the livestream chat, I just looked frozen. Tough spot to be in. Absolute nightmare fuel for anyone with choice paralysis. Make up your mind already. You cannot see inside. Just pick at random. Old Bai was never the indecisive type before. Why is he struggling so much? 1,000 points are on the line here. Makes sense he would be extra careful with this draw. I made my choice ages ago, so I just faked a moment of deep thought. I will take this crate. Ding, congratulations. You won 1 ammo supply pack. A heavy iron crate marked with a hazard symbol. Slammed straight into the dirt right in front of me. I popped the lid right there in the open. Let everyone get a solid look at the loot. Since I would be firing the Black Star a lot now, better to explain it early instead of viewers constantly asking how I got infinite ammo. Wow. Old Bai has totally unreal luck today. Rounds that actually fit the gun. The perfect combo. That is insane. With all this ammo, Subobai is literally unstoppable now. 40 initial rounds plus these 200 equals 240 shots. Plenty of firepower. Still, I did not let the hype completely take over. Keep going. Tier 1 draw, spend 1,000 points. Yes, 3 fresh boxes spawned in. A single glance told me everything. Black iron blade and a black iron dagger. Both tier, not worth my time at all. Then the third crate. Black iron, tier 1, 50 kilograms. Useful for forging god-tier weapons and upgrading buildings. Exactly the material I needed. Leveling up the island master manners. And I was exactly 50 short. Boom. A dull metal block slammed into the dirt. A 50-kilogram chunk of tier 1 black iron. I kept the suspense short and instantly pulled a third time. All three crates were total trash, so I picked the best of the worst. Tier 1 low-grade black iron bow. Fourth pull was no better. Settled for a suit of soft armor woven with gold thread. A massive win for an average challenger, sure, but I already owned one. Hey Island Spirit, why is everything dropping as tier 1 low grade? That is simply how the gacha system works. Low grade is 80%. Mid is 15%. Top tier is under 5%. Pulling a mid-grade pack in just 4 tries is already incredibly lucky. I rolled my eyes hard on the inside. I could literally see straight through every single crate. If I still could not beat the odds with this cheat code, the game was not worth playing at all. Still, I could not alter the loot inside. I could only choose the absolute best of the bunch. Keep going then. I refuse to believe my luck is this terrible. I snapped coldly, staring at the crates floating in the void. The livestream chat instantly blew up. Rest in peace. If your luck is trash, take a break. Do not do anything reckless. That gambler mindset is extremely dangerous. When your luck turns sour, even drinking water might just choke you out. You guys are totally wrong. Every single prize he pulled is above average. He just is not satisfied yet. That is it. Oh wow, that actually makes perfect sense. Keep pulling then. Fifth item drops. Another 50 kilograms of tier 1 black iron. The corner of my mouth twitched up into a smile. This finished the 100 kilos of black iron I needed for the Island Master Manor. Draw number 7. Looked like my luck was finally shifting. A top-grade item rested quietly in one crate. I reached right out and grabbed it without any hesitation. Wait, draw number 6. Guess my fortune really flipped. A top-grade item sitting pretty right in the box. I snatched it up without a single drop of hesitation. Arrow Tower. Tier 1 top grade. A heavy offensive building that you can plant directly down onto the floating island. It features 3 separate chambers, holding tier 1 arrows in top mid and low grade. 6,000 arrows total. Controlled by the island spirit, it automatically snipes invading enemies up to 300 meters away. Totally useless against Fog Island itself, though. It drops with 60 arrows per grade, plus 3 separate arrow crafting blueprints. A tiny palm-sized model dropped into the dirt. I picked it up and quickly broke down the stats. The chat completely lost its mind. Absolute madness. Was the floating island upgrade not just missing one offensive building? That massive requirement was fulfilled just like that. 3 rooms packed with arrows and a sky raining sharp steel. What insane monster would dare charge this? Simply invincible. Before, my spear and repeating bow were my only weapons against fierce monsters. But now with this arrow tower, pulling's massive aggro is not a problem anymore. Honestly, the more the merrier. The only real downside is the severe lack of ammo. Restocking it manually will definitely be a tough challenge. I smile slightly. This drop is totally incredible. Then I grab the model and head straight for the edge of the island. I secured the arrow tower now. How hard could finding arrows really be? The second the model hits the dirt, it suddenly morphs from a mere illusion into a solid reality. It expands in seconds, becoming a massive tower that covers 50 square meters. Standing 3 stories tall, its towering peak reaches exactly 20 meters high. Next to the 3 weapon rooms, a staircase runs straight to the top. Archers can stand up there to boost firepower while using it as a lookout point. One structure gives you countless different uses. I still have 2 tier 1 pulls left. Let us keep going. Pull number 7. The second chest makes joy completely explode in my chest, even though my face stays perfectly calm and completely unchanged. I am definitely taking this. A premium tier 1 Elxiang micro-automated arrow making workshop. Just insert a blueprint or set the specs to automatically produce all kinds of tier 1 and standard arrows. Running at max power. It drains 2.5 kilowatts an hour. Output is 50 premium tier 1 arrows, 200 low-quality ones, or 300 standard. Plus, it packs a massive 50 kilowatt built-in battery. Dead silence hits the livestream for a few seconds. Then it explodes with a massive wave of comments that nearly blacks out the screen. When luck smiles, heaven and earth unite to hand you their power. His luck is so absurd it makes you insanely jealous. Old Bai is just an orphan. Before this trial, he was a totally average guy. But the second he enters, he skyrockets straight to the top. You all smell that familiar scent, right? Absolutely wild. This is the classic Chosen One template we all know. Could Old Bai seriously be the main hero from the Blue Planet Prophecy? Take him down now. He just got totally lucky, that is it. The trial lasts 168 days. How many have even passed? Early progress means absolutely nothing. The ones who hold their lead and survive until the bitter end, those are the real heroes. Solid point. Plenty of geniuses exist. Sure, but very few live long enough to taste actual glory. The vast majority just die halfway through. You got this, old bye. Ignore their annoying chatter. I sent over a reward. Someday, I will follow you into the new zone. I nod at the viewers in appreciation, then install the workshop directly beside my island master mansion. This so-called workshop is actually just an enclosed production line. A main control panel, a material input slot, and a crafting room, plus a packaging conveyor belt. Just load up your blueprints, feed in the required materials, and finished products pop out the other end. I grab my 3 free blueprints and slide them straight into the system. The required materials flash on the screen. Low-quality Tier 1 arrow, you need low-grade spirit wood or spirit bamboo, plus standard feathers. Medium Tier 1 arrow, medium-grade spirit wood or spirit bamboo, paired with standard feathers. Premium Tier 1 arrow, premium spirit wood or spirit bamboo along with special feathers. Red tail feathers work fine as a substitute, plus a tiny pinch of Tier 2 mithril. Guys, these arrows take way simpler materials than what my repeating bow actually needs. 0 metal parts, so the cost is way cheaper. A bitter smile creeps onto my face. The problem is, I have never seen spirit wood or spirit bamboo in my entire life, let alone mithril. Crafting these arrows anytime soon is going to be incredibly tough. My repeating bow arrowheads are forged from black iron, etched with complex patterns, and carefully inlaid with a glowing silver-white material. I guessed that material had to be mithril. Those patterns are probably why the arrows pierced straight through a 4-star Tier 1 monster's blood shield. But crafting is not really my specialty. Old bye. You only have 1 pull left. Maybe you will pull exactly what you need. These drops always match the challenger's needs. This arrow workshop is solid proof of that, right? Listen to good advice, and you will never go hungry. I trigger my final Tier 1 pull. Mountain Cleaver Axe, Premium Tier 1. An incredibly sharp tool, perfect for chopping spirit wood or just ripping enemies apart. No spirit wood drop, but they gave me the exact tool to chop it. Honestly, I do not know whether to laugh or cry right now. Still, a Premium Tier 1 divine weapon is definitely not a bad deal. Second treasure chest, a Medium Tier 1 heavy black iron spear. A long spear forged from pure black iron, way sharper than the low-grade version, and able to channel blood ki for completely lethal blood strikes. 300 kilograms. Swinging it demands 1,000 pounds of raw strength. Excellent loot. My eyes instantly light up. My old heavy spear was literally about to snap and fail me, especially when fighting those 4-star Tier 1 monsters. I could not deal heavy damage without hitting a vital spot. This weapon dropped at the perfect time. It is mine. I quickly checked the first chest. I felt pretty hesitant. The third chest only held a low-grade Tier 1 spirit weapon, so I completely ignored it without thinking. Which one should I pick? Damn it. Why didn't they hand this stuff out earlier? Highly frustrated, I went with the most practical choice right now. The heavy black iron spear. That left me with just 41 Tier 1 points, not enough for another pull. But I kept pulling. I did 5 more mortal tier draws, only stopping when my points hit absolute 0. Out of those 5 mortal draws, I scored 3 tons of steel and 60 cubic meters of wood, 30 barrels of diesel, and 30 cubic meters of stone. Pure basic crafting materials. Adding it all up, my Island Lord Mansion upgrade list now sits at 165 cubic meters of wood, 115 cubic meters of stone, and 9 tons of steel. 100 kilograms of Tier 1 black iron, 246 low-grade animal pelts, and 30 Tier 1 mid-grade pelts. I still need another 135 cubic meters of wood, 185 cubic meters of stone, 1 ton of steel, and 54 animal skins. Then our Island Lord Mansion hits the next level, I told the chat, grinning. I am definitely eager to see what changes this upcoming base upgrade brings us. Alright, that is all for today. The Fog Island trip paid off massively, so I need some time to turn these resources into actual combat power. Next stream, we explore the Blood Spring. I will do my absolute best to drain every single drop. With that, I completely shut down the live stream. I walked slowly toward the border of the floating island and Fog Island, staring hard at the churning white mist ahead. I thought it over for a second, then stepped inside. Only this time there was absolutely no stream running. Above me hovered a multi-story pagoda glowing blood red. I avoided collecting the blood spring water straight away. That hype moment was perfect. Saving it for the next broadcast would definitely pull in way more viewers. Burning that content right now would just be a massive waste. I came out here for 2 things. First, tracking down a wild mastiff around my power level so I could practice close quarters combat. Second, my absolute top priority, finding the mysterious thunder fruit that the guardian blood beast coveted so badly. I followed my memory perfectly, rapidly closing in on the blood spring. Then I focused on where that earlier roar came from. I only pushed forward a few hundred meters before completely freezing in place. Right in my line of sight stood a completely still wild mastiff. Those cold, emotionless eyes scanned me, treating me like an already dead corpse. A brutal chill shot down my spine. Tier 1 for stars, mid-stage. A pretty solid opponent, but the timing was absolutely terrible. I did not care about fighting fair. I immediately squeezed the trigger of my repeating crossbow. But that wild mastiff had a razor-sharp sense of danger. The second my arrow locked on the beast, instantly caught the scent of certain death. Too bad it was a half-second too slow. The bolt shredded the air like a falling meteor, hitting it dead center right between the eyes. Tier 1 mid-stage 4-star wild mastiff eliminated. I scored 140 points, completely refilling the pool I had just emptied. I snatched up the corpse and the loot, then kept moving. Along the way, I walked into 4 wild mastiff ambushes and mercilessly wiped them all out. That was even after actively dodging others by using my divine vision. Otherwise, it never would have been this easy. Finally, I stepped into the heart of Fog Island. 118 meters out, my senses suddenly picked up the dark thunder fruit tree. Dozens of red dots completely swarmed the trunk. A total bloodbath is completely unavoidable here, I muttered, my brows knitting tight. My entire field of vision was absolutely swarming with wild mastiffs. Even the weakest sat at peak Tier 1 holding 4 solid stars. The strongest had already hit late-stage Tier 1 at 5 stars. There were up to 7 5-star hounds crowding the area, and that was just what I could see. The thick mist could easily hide more. I pulled up the tree's stats and my jaw absolutely dropped. Dark Thunder Fruit Tree, a top-quality Tier 1 spiritual root. It purifies the body using Dark Thunder. It flushes impurities, boosts physical strength, enhances bone root alignment, and works miracles for breaking bottlenecks. Low-grade fruits boost body refinement levels 1 through 3, while mid-grade hits levels 4 through 6. High-grade covers 7 through 9. Eating 3 top-grade fruits together can literally force a rankless bone root straight into the first tier. Spirit Springs offer just a tiny chance to upgrade bone roots, requiring massive long-term consumption. But here, 3 high-quality Dark Thunder fruits can drag a rankless physique straight up to the first tier. For anyone sitting on mountains of gold but lacking a bone root, this stuff was an absolutely priceless treasure. Bone roots are the total foundation of any cultivator, the ultimate resource. Anything that upgrades them is easily worth a massive fortune. I checked the tree again. 81 Dark Thunder fruits total. The item tag read Dark Thunder Fruit Tier 1 low grade. This spirit fruit finishes its transformation in roughly 34 minutes, pushing it into Tier 1 mid-grade. All were low quality for now, but 13 were right on the edge of transforming. I simply cannot wait. My mind was racing. The second they hit mid-grade, they might just get swallowed up by some mastiff. I am taking every single one of these fruits. 34 minutes. I had to clear out every wild mastiff eyeing that tree. I aimed my mechanical crossbow at the strongest late-stage 5-star Tier 1 beast and fired. The arrow launched, tearing through the thick fog like lightning. The monster sensed it instantly. Blood energy aura flared to shield its body as it dodged, but my armor-piercing arrow was way too fast. The beast barely flinched before the shot ripped through its 5-centimeter aura shield and sank directly into its right eye. It managed to dodge a fatal headshot, only to suffer the absolute agony of a ruptured eye. The mastiff howled in agony, growling as it glared in my direction. Blinded by the fog, it relied on tracking the arrow's exact path. It pinpointed my rough location, completely abandoned the tree, and charged straight at me. And yet, it only managed a few steps before stumbling. The more blood energy the beast burned through, the more violently dizzy it became. I just stood there, stunned, green-eye snake venom. Is it really this potent and fast-acting? Did the venom travel straight to its brain from the right eye? What a heavy strike. The mastiff dragged itself about 30 meters before its legs gave out, slamming hard into the dirt. It was not dead yet, but completely paralyzed. It seemed the other mastiffs caught the scent of danger too. Dropping their turf war, they turned as one and charged straight for me. Here they come. No time to overthink. I planted my feet, aimed with cold precision, and fired my 9 remaining arrows in rapid succession. Then I spun around and bolted, using the thick fog as my cover. The fog was completely neutral. It blinded me, but it blinded those beasts too. These wild mastiffs had lived here for years. Their senses were way sharper than any humans, and yet, even they could not see through this fog. It worked on the exact same principle as a blind man, developing sharper hearing over time. Their only guide was the whistling of my arrows and the thrashing of the beast I just hit. Meanwhile, I scanned the entire battlefield using my divine sense. That was my absolute biggest advantage. I kept dodging and weaving while reloading. That last volley crippled 10 of them, taking out every single 5-star Tier 1 monster in the pack. Fully reloaded, I quickly flanked the pack and unleashed another 10 arrows all at once. Just standard basic arrows this time. Every single one of these mastiffs was at least a 4-star Tier 1 beast. Regular green-eye snake arrows couldn't pierce their aura shields unless they hit a fatal weak point. Late stage 5-star Tier 1 Wild Mastiff killed. Reward 400 Tier 1 points. The very first beast I shot had finally died. Surviving this long was actually pretty impressive. But I had zero time to dwell on that notification. I fired another 10 arrows into the air. The wild mastiffs spiraled into total panic, violently crashing into the surrounding trees, thrashing around like rabid beasts with zero sense of direction, desperate to find their tormentor. But with my Heaven's Eye active, they were never getting that chance. Out here on Fog Island, these monsters were always the ones toying with their prey. When did they become the playthings for someone else? As the third volley rained down, their blind fury morphed into absolute genuine terror. One mastiff shrieked and the pack scattered like startled birds. Fleeing in every direction, they gave up the chase entirely. It was over. Wasn't this supposed to be a fight to the death? I blinked, completely caught off guard. Back then, the green-eye snakes kept pushing the attack until their very last hatchling fell. And yet, these wild mastiffs had already broken and fled twice now. Once their casualties hit a certain threshold, pure fear took over. They snapped back to reality and bolted. So, a fight to the death actually had its own conditions. Even so, these beasts were leagues smarter than those green-eye snakes, sometimes charging recklessly ahead, and knowing when to retreat are just two sides of the same coin. I stepped out, quickly cleared the battlefield, and swept up all the scattered corpses and loot. Approaching the Black Thunder fruit tree again, I found both sides completely deserted. Not a single monster in sight. I stood beneath it, sweeping the whole area with my divine sense. Within 120 meters, not a single red dot remained. They had all fled. I looked up at the Black Thunder fruit's countdown, frowning hard. 17 minutes left. Way too long. The more time passed, the higher the risk of drawing in extra wild mastiffs. 1 minute, 2 minutes. The mastiffs never came close, but my divine sense drained away first. I instantly pulled out a mid-grade Tier 1 spirit pill and swallowed it. Instantly, a massive wave of spiritual power flooded my sea of consciousness. The overflow immediately went to work, refining and strengthening my soul. Once the pill's effects stabilized, my divine sense's duration jumped from 25 minutes to 28. The detection range expanded too, growing from 120 meters to 130. Perfect timing, I scoffed, my good mood shattering instantly. Right at the edge of my inside eye's range, several red dots lit up at once. More of them, all slowly creeping toward the Black Thunder fruit tree. Only 2.5 minutes left until the transformation ended. These beasts chose their timing absolutely perfectly. That sudden silence earlier, they probably left to fetch reinforcements. 130 meters, 120. By the time the first one hit the 80-meter mark, 38 wild hounds had already breached my line of sight. They just kept pouring in an endless, terrifying wave. I tightened my grip on the Zoga repeating bow and swallowed hard. 10,000 Beast Pagoda, everything rides on you today. Whoosh! 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 That suffocating pressure from the creeping army forced me to strike first. 10 arrows let loose, each finding its mark, and a near one for 4-star Wild Hound. This rushing wave was mostly Tier 1 3 stars, with a few 4 stars mixed in. Not a single 5-star beast among them. They were getting cautious. Were they testing my breaking point, or just trying to drain my arrows? Either way, they gave me zero room to think. The second my arrows stopped, they launched a suicide charge. Oh, right on time. I ditched the bow and yanked out my heavy black iron spear. Die! I lunged forward, completely predicting the beast's dodge. The heavy blade plunged straight between its eyes with brutal force. With a sharp flick of my right wrist, I channeled massive power straight down the shaft. It completely crushed its brain. 1 peak Tier 1 3-star Wild Hound dead. Reward 60 Tier 1 spiked arrows. Immediately, 3 more hounds pounced at once. I swung my spear in a massive horizontal arc, unleashing 1,000 army sweep. The blow sent them flying over 10 meters. They smashed into the dirt, coughing up blood and swaying, completely unable to get back up. Instead of backing down, they just went totally rabid, throwing themselves right at me. Zero survival instinct left in them. I went through absolute hell to track this place down. And it was all for these Zinli fruits. Come on, let me see if you really welcome death. Pure killing intent flared inside me. Tier 1 3-star, 1 spear thrust, 1 kill. Sometimes tearing through multiple at once. The 4-star beast trying to ambush me found nowhere to hide from my inside eye. Their movements were a fraction of a second too slow. I could wipe out early-stage 4-star beasts in 5 moves flat, but mid-stage 4 stars and above, I was no match for them. One reckless attempt proved that pretty quick. After that, whenever one popped up, my left hand just squeezed the trigger, letting Blackar send it straight to hell. Bang! The gunshot threw the entire pack into absolute chaos. Using the confusion, I easily dropped 3 more. One man fighting dozens for 2 solid minutes. Finally, the Jinlei tree erupted with pale blue lightning, lighting up the dirt in every direction. 13 fruits finished their transformation inside that blinding light, evolving into mid-grade Tier 1 Jinli fruits. Right then, around a dozen Tier 1 5-star wild mastiffs charged out from every direction. They lunged straight for the glowing tree, going straight for the fruit. So that was their goal. These beasts were cunning as hell. The 5 stars hung back, letting the weaker ones drain my stamina before swiping the prize at the perfect moment. You filthy mutts. You are literally begging to die. I ripped my spear back and thrust my right palm skyward. A blood-red 9-tier pagoda materialized out of thin air. It violently expanded, shielding both me and the tree. Blinded by the glowing ripe fruit, the 5-star wild mastiffs recklessly slammed right into the shimmering shell of the 10,000 beast pagoda. Doom! Deafening impacts exploded across the shield, one after another. The wild mastiffs blasted backward into the dirt. They staggered around, dazed, completely unable to even stand straight. Looking up at the pagoda, real fear flashed in those savage eyes for the very first time. "Submit!" I roared. The 10,000 beast pagoda lowered slightly, dropping an absolutely massive, crushing wave of force. The mastiff's limbs violently twisted as they were forced flat against the dirt. Even the 5-star beasts could barely prop themselves up before being totally flattened by the weight. With them completely pinned down, I darted forward with my spear, crippling them one by one. A terrifying suction force erupted from the pagoda's base. The weaker beasts were instantly swallowed up. The stronger ones struggled for a second but couldn't escape it. Only a stubborn few fought the pull to the bitter end. I pulled the trigger and finished them off. One bullet each, refused to submit, and you die. Once it was finally over, my legs gave out. I hit the dirt on one knee, totally drained. The 10,000 beast pagoda was incredible, strong enough to slaughter 5-star mastiffs, but the toll was insane. Just those few seconds almost entirely drained my blood and energy reserves. Luckily, the surrounding mastiffs were all wiped out. There wasn't any immediate danger left, because honestly, running on fumes like this, my odds of surviving another attack were practically zero. I quickly swallowed a mid-grade Tier 1 blood spirit pill, firing up my cultivation technique to digest the medicine. The second I felt slightly better, I hurried back to the tree. Too dangerous to just hang around here. First, I plucked all 13 dark thunder fruits, stashing them safely in my spatial storage. Then I stepped right up to the trunk. Rise. I put everything I had into ripping that tree straight from its roots. Right then, electrical arcs coiled around the trunk and blasted heavily into my arms. Every hair on my head stood up, black smoke pouring from my mouth. Damn, this tree actually packs an electric shock too. Luckily, it only lasted a single second. The shock itself wasn't any worse than taking a full hit from a 3-star Tier 1 monster. I could handle that much. No time to dwell on it, though. I instantly stashed the tree inside the myriad beast pagoda, spun around, and sprinted back toward the floating island. I carefully dodged the wild mastiffs the whole way back, only running into 2 4-star beasts I couldn't slip past. I shot them both dead. Once back on the floating island, I instantly pulled the fruit tree out. Its leaves were already turning yellow, its life force was fading fast. "Are you actually dying on me? Don't disappoint me now." Grabbing my heavy spear, I gouged out a massive hole, planting the tree right beside the miniature spirit spring. Then I dumped every single drop of fresh water from the spring's eye straight over its roots. Stay alive no matter what. Upgrading the floating island takes 2 resource types. The spirit spring is one. If this fruit tree survives, it becomes the second. Even if it fails, the fruit and spirit wood can just go to the fletching workshop to become arrows. Success or failure, I win either way. But I really hope it lives. After watering it, I just stood quietly beneath its branches. 10 minutes later, those yellowing leaves started turning green again. It was slowly coming back to life. On my stats panel, the floating island's resource count ticked up to 2. Island Spirit did the transplant work? Yes, Island Master. The floating island originally evolved from incredibly fertile soil, making it highly beneficial for any kind of spiritual plant. Nourished by the spirit spring, the tree took root and survived. I finally let out a long sigh. Is there any way to speed up this dark thunderfruit's growth? Yes, you can water it with a higher tier spirit spring, or upgrade the floating island itself, or cultivate it using thunder attribute spirit soil and liquids. A spiritual botanist could force it to ripen. Or you could set up growth arrays, even time acceleration arrays. There are plenty of methods. The problem is none of them are exactly easy for you right now, Island Master. Understood. I mentally filed that away, took one last look at the fruit tree, and headed straight for the front courtyard of the Island Master's mansion. Mentally, I issued a command: Pagoda Spirit, refine all the wild mastiff corpses. During that battle, I managed to capture 14 5 Tier 1 wild mastiffs, 16 4-star ones, and 7 3-stars. I killed 7 5, 39 4-stars, and 33 3-stars. Yeah. By the way, is there a way to make these captured mastiffs submit to me completely? Whether I build a beast legion or a future cavalry force, They would make an incredibly strong top-tier choice. Master 1 has already submitted and finished the contract. The rest are still resisting, but their willpower is weak. Subjugating them won't be hard. Wait, you don't need my blood? That genuinely caught me off guard. Contracting with Little Red and Little Dragon cost me 2 drops of my own blood. Master. Only combat pets with massive potential require a blood bond to recognize a master. Once tied to you, betrayal is impossible, and you control their life or death with a single thought. As for monsters with limited potential, they are completely useless for anything besides basic cannon fodder. No need to waste your blood on them. I can easily control them for you. The only catch is, they cannot stray too far from your side. How far exactly? And if they cross that limit? That depends entirely on your current cultivation level. At your current tier, they cannot wander more than 2 kilometers away. If they cross that boundary, there is a massive chance they break free from control, or just suffer immediate brain death on the spot. 2 kilometers is actually a solid range. So what about a wild mastiff's potential? Can they keep cultivating? The wild mastiff is a direct descendant of the dire wasteland wolf and the 3-headed mastiff. Its personal potential is highly limited, capping out at the peak of Tier 1 9 stars. However, the dire wasteland wolf can reach peak Tier 3. And the 3-headed mastiff? It can actually hit peak Tier 4. If these wild mastiffs undergo genetic reversion and become dire wolves, their potential hits Tier 3. And if they grow 3 heads, reverting fully into a 3-headed mastiff pushes them to Tier 4. He paused, adding, but their bloodlines are extremely weak. Reversions are terribly rare. Don't get your hopes up, Master. I nodded, agreeing with him. Then I summoned the submitted wild mastiff. A second later, a late-stage Tier 1 4-star wild mastiff appeared. It was lethargic, sprawled flat on the ground without a single twitch. The icy killing intent was entirely gone from its eyes now, replaced by a clear, undeniable look of absolute submission. Combat pet, wild masked mature cultivation, late-stage Tier 1, 4 stars. Skills pounce, trample, and shred. Innate divine ability none. Bloodline purity 1.2%. Note it can rapidly boost its cultivation by devouring vitality-rich meat, blood crystals, and other rare treasures. The Mystic Thunderfruit is exceptionally effective for completely purifying its bloodline. Makes sense now. No wonder those beasts died defending the fruit trees. It purifies their bloodline. It is their absolute lifeline. Master, he was heavily wounded already. Then I roughed him up a little. His body and soul are totally drained. He needs Tau recovery time. How long will that take? A cosmic day or 2 usually. You can speed that up using blood crystals, blood soul pills, or standard soul pills. Feed them the low-grade Tier 1 blood soul pills and soul pills. Get them healed up fast. Those 2 pill types barely do anything for me anymore. Understood. This wild mastiff has low potential, but right now he is my strongest combat pet. Once he recovers, his strength might actually surpass mine, his master. Luckily, combat pets from the 10,000 Beast Tower will never betray their master over a power gap. That is brilliant. Then another thought hit me. If I want to abandon or sell a combat pet, is that possible? My army will just keep getting stronger over time. Keeping beasts that fall behind would just be a total waste of resources. But since they fought so bravely for me, just tossing them away, once their usefulness ends, seems way too harsh. If I could pass them on to shine somewhere else, that might be the absolute best outcome for them. Absolutely, I can easily condense a combat pet soul slip for you, and you can trade it right along with the beast itself. The buyer just needs to re-establish the master bond, the Tower Spirit explained. The soul slip acts as the medium for the beast soul contract. Anyone dripping their blood on it claims full ownership. Quick and totally simple. Master, the wild mastiff corpses are fully refined. The total is 38 medium Tier 1 blood soul pills, 105 low-grade pills, 5 medium soul pills, and 13 low-grade ones. I cracked a faint smile. Looks like I will not be needing those blood pool rooms anymore. These blood soul pills alone are more than enough for my breakthrough to the 5th level body refining realm. Paired up with my old stash, I now possess exactly 51 medium-grade blood soul pills, 6 medium soul pills, 236 low blood soul pills, and 27 low soul pills. After handing the low-grade pills over to the Tower Spirit, I began counting the loot from this Fog Island trip. Putting aside the wild mastiffs and fruit trees, the cache is 552 silver coins and blood crystals, 7 complete low-grade blood crystals. I harvested them all from the 7 5-star wild mastiffs, plus 45 low-grade fragmented crystals. Points 10,015 Tier 1 points. Unfortunately, taming beasts grants 0 points. I could not exactly hide my greed after all that. As for equipment, I did not score a single piece. Looks like Fog Island truly drops 0 gear. I sighed slowly. Tower Spirit, give these 45 fragmented crystals to Little Red and Little Dragon. Let them train properly. I really look forward to watching them grow. As for the 7 complete crystals, I carefully stashed them away in my personal storage. So far, I have safely stored 8 complete low-grade blood crystals. Understood, Master. Time to settle down and focus purely on training for a bit. Once my power goes up another level, I can freely enter and exit Fog Island next time, even without relying on the Infinite Beast Tower. I flipped my hand, took out a medium-grade blood soul pill, swallowed it, and assumed the horse stance on the bluestone courtyard outside the palace. Instantly, a massive, pure wave of chi and blood energy burst from my stomach, completely flooding my body. It surged into my muscles, toughening tendons and bones while waking my cells. It flooded my organs, making my heartbeat pound stronger and echo louder than ever before. It widened and heavily reinforced my energy pathways, rushing into my blood, merging and expanding massively, making the chi and blood energy inside me far more solid and pure. Once the pill effect wore off, I did not rush to take another. Instead, I activated the Eye of Insight, turning my gaze inward to inspect myself and correct every tiny flaw in my martial techniques. The exact moment the ability ran out, I popped another pill and resumed the horse stance. While training, I noticed my spiritual energy was slowly recovering too. Every time the ability refreshed, I eagerly practiced my martial arts again. Repeating this cycle saved soul recovery pills while maximizing my overall efficiency. I ate when hungry, slept when tired, and trained again the second I woke up. Days like this might seem kind of boring, but I barely contained my excitement because I felt it clear as day. With every passing moment, I grew stronger. 1 hour, 2 hours, 10 hours. Time flew by and my cultivation rose steadily. This was my longest stretch in isolation since entering the trial space. I understood it perfectly well. There are absolutely no shortcuts in cultivation. Only by squeezing every resource I have and turning it into raw power can I earn the right to fulfill that one word: survival. While I quietly grew stronger on the floating island, the outside world was shifting day by day. Capital-based director office, knock, knock, knock. An urgent knock. Zhang Yong saw the visitor through the glass. Come in. Is it about Luofeng? Did something happen? He took heavy damage earlier, keeping Zhang Yong sick with worry ever since. Director, great news. Wang Jia's face practically glowed with excitement. We totally underestimated those blood crystals. Even the low-grade ones pack unbelievable healing power. In under 3 days, every single one of Luofeng's injuries completely vanished. His cultivation leaped straight to stage 1, 4th level body refining. He paused, regret thick in his voice. Luofeng said if his massive injuries had not drained the crystal completely, that single low-grade blood crystal would have easily pushed him straight into the mid-stage of level 4. Zhang Yong stood up, totally stunned. Blood crystals are that powerful. If that is true, this is the ultimate treasure for pulling ahead during the early trial stages. He paced the office, stopping abruptly. Subobai harvested plenty of blood crystals from the Fog Islands. Just fragments, sure, but sheer quantity made up for it. Luofeng's crystal came from the Fog Islands too. Are blood crystals a Fog Islands exclusive? Wang just interrupted, no need to guess. I already checked. Almost every single blood crystal found so far came straight from the Fog Islands, whether found stolen or dropped by savage beasts like Subai's kills. Not one crystal has shown up anywhere else. Subai mentioned Beast King lairs hide them too. Zhang Yong noted, his mind made up right then. Put all this into one report, along with the news of Luofeng's recovery and massive level up. Broadcast it live. Make sure every single Chinese tester knows about this. Will the news leak to other nations? He wasn't worried. The whole world already shared an unspoken rule: you watch my stream, I watch yours. No big news stays buried. Better to share than hoard. Wang Jia hesitated. Once this drops, I am afraid people will take the gamble and storm the Fog Islands. Casualties might skyrocket. Can we really keep this quiet? Zhang Yong shook his head, visibly torn. Even if we stay silent, the world will know soon enough. Going in is entirely their choice, but we must warn them of the risks. Cool that reckless hype a little, without totally crushing their fighting spirit. He wanted everyone pushing forward, but feared driving them into a slaughter. As director, walking that tightrope was the absolute hardest part. Understood. I'll be careful. And the second that report dropped, the entire world exploded into absolute chaos. Sam State Intelligence Agency. This intel China just leaked, is it real? James held up a screenshot. Confirmed, it is absolute fact. Secretary Jones stepped forward, his face dead serious. Blood crystal effects completely blow away our expectations. To catch Luofeng and Subai, our guys must raid the Fog Islands and snatch every crystal they can. Otherwise, we are never closing this gap. Every beast there is tier 1 3-star minimum. Luke fired back. One encounter guarantees death or a crippling injury. We must warn our testers to hit the 3rd body refining level before setting foot in there. Playing it safe, Luke? That's for cowards. Jones refused to back down. An inch. High risk equals high reward. Hesitate once and you eat dust forever. Our guy started top 3 globally in combat power. Now he's out of the top 5. The East outnumbers us. Reckless pushes mean more casualties. The death toll will explode. Luke fired back. It's day 168. The trial's barely even started. Pace yourselves. You only win if you stay alive. The office tension grew completely suffocating. Jones dropped his trump card. The president wants a blood crystal. You know his moods. Fail to deliver and we are all screwed. One sentence and dead silence choked the room. After a long beat, Luke sighed. Even if we grab a blood crystal, our testers absolutely need it first. Sending it back is impossible. They aren't idiots. Why would they agree? They don't get a vote. Jones went icy. James listened, anxiety spiking. Is he my secretary or his? But he swallowed the thought. That man holds all three branches of power. His raw dominance ranks top 5 in the entire history of Sam State. Warn our testers and allies. James turned to Jones. You want a blood crystal for the president? Fine, but hear this. If you play this game, bleed the foreigners. Never cripple our own ranks. And if you manage to snatch one from the Hasha people, even better. Jones blinked in surprise, then nodded slowly. I will do my absolute best. Compared to all these endless national conspiracies, the online world felt much simpler. I knew about blood crystals, but I never imagined they were quite this powerful. Look at the injury Luong took. Just recently, even the most advanced medical treatments would have required a solid month or two. A single blood crystal healed it completely in 3 days. It even boosted his cultivation from peak level 1 to early level 4. Absolute madness. Luong saw his livestream views triple overnight. Now I actually believe Old Bay. Both his battle pets got enhanced by blood crystals, and his personal cultivation is off the charts. Turns out he wasn't hiding a thing. He was telling the truth. Luong only had 1 blood crystal, while Old Bay secured 2. Speaking of which, how long has it been since Subobai started his broadcast? All this hype will die down if he does not stream soon. These new webtoon rookies are getting insanely fierce lately. What is the rush anyway? He explored Fog Island, grabbing blood crystals, blood springs, and a whole mountain of resources. It would be genuinely confusing if he skipped going into seclusion to level up right now. Pretty solid point, honestly. It is just that whenever Old Bay is not around, something always feels missing. While everyone kept thinking about me, I was still stuck on the floating island, grinding my skills step by step. Exhale. My breath of stale air condensed into a sharp arrow, ripping through the space right in front of me. It cracked the sound barrier, roaring like a supersonic fighter jet. Current resource piles mean absolutely nothing, because one day they will completely dry up. I stared at the last mid-grade level 1 blood soul pill resting in my palm, carefully tucking it away in my storage. Using the 10,000 beast tower last time drained my energy in a single flash. Having learned that lesson the hard way, I kept a soul pill and a blood soul pill strictly for battlefield emergencies. One tiny mistake could cost my life. During this seclusion, I refined 50 blood soul pills and 5 soul pills. My sheer strength skyrocketed. My combat techniques noticeably evolved too. I am definitely not the same guy from that day. Open this screen. A transparent, pale blue interface materialized right before my eyes. ID Blue Star 1000. Name Subobai. Body Refining Realm. Strength sits around 5,926 kilograms. Cultivation method 9 transformations Divine Demon Art. 9 transformations Origin Chaos Chapter. First tier active combat techniques. Heavenly Valley Divine Finger Gold breaking at 50%. 9-fold Mysterious Origin Spear weighing 1,000 June hits 99%. Off by a hair. Walking a Trace 35%. Bone Root Divine Great Talent for Divine Strength. Divine Level Eye of Insight 40 minutes 30 seconds. Sees through stealth up to 165 meters. Upgrades with training points. Level 110 out of 16. Human level 556. The higher your cultivation climbs, the easier refining combat techniques actually becomes. Except for the 9-fold Mysterious Origin Spear. It stayed frustratingly stuck at the starting threshold despite my efforts. My gut tells me this particular hurdle only breaks through brutal, actual combat. Meanwhile, the Eye of Insight evolved massively after absorbing those 5 soul pills. Both duration and range feel infinitely better now, a literal night and day difference. I glanced up at the ominous countdown hovering straight over the Island Master Palace. The countdown. 9 cosmic days, 11 blue star date, 18 hours, 41 minutes, and 23 seconds left, splitting the timeline evenly between light and dark leaves, slightly over 3 days before we plunge into the long night. I frown. I need to finish exploring this fog island and the other floating zone before darkness hits. Time is running thin. Panic drummed hard against my ribs. Tower Spirit. How many wild mastiffs surrendered to us? Reporting, Sir 37. Wait, did they all break this fast? Barely 3 days and she subjugated them completely. Those Tower Spirit interrogation methods are genuinely terrifying. They are only level 1 beasts. Hardly worth bragging about. And their injuries? 7 3-star, 16 4-star, and 3 5-star targets have fully recovered. The remaining 11 5-star ones lack pills, meaning they can only heal up slowly on the first floor. As for Little Long and Little Chi, the giant dragon snake reached middle stage level 1 with 5 stars. The Crimson Blood Rooster hit peak level 1 with 4 full stars. Excellent. A satisfied smirk tugged at my mouth. Summon those two little companions. Time to get back to the grind. Boom, boom. Little Chi and Little Long slammed heavily onto the dirt. The ground shook twice. I took a deep, sharp breath. Little Long grew from 10 meters to 15, while Little Chi bulked up massively, looking exactly like a heavily armored tank. Sir. The two creatures stumbled out looking dazed, but once they spotted me, they instantly crowded close, nuzzling against my legs with total affection. Not bad at all. You guys did not disappoint me. I gently patted their massive heads. Gripping my heavy black iron spear, I led my battle pets toward the border where the floating island meets Fog Island. Island Spirit, start the live stream right now. Understood, Island Master. Shank inside an office tower. Wait, Bai is streaming? Li Wenhu jumped up and yelled to his coworkers, come look at this. Early in the trials, everyone chalked up his success to Subobai having totally dumb luck. Just water cooler gossip. But not anymore. Now he was their pride and joy. And even that old jealousy had faded completely. Whenever someone jealously asked, is Subobai really your coworker? Their faces would light up. 3 days in isolation. Nobody knows how far his training went. Do you think Subobai already broke into the 5th stage of body refinement? In the latest combat rankings, first place was completely empty. Why? Everyone is totally certain that spot belongs to Subobai. Over in the Beijing base, Jiang Yong opened the live stream, stared at those two massive beasts and took a deep breath. They are huge. He and his battle pets definitely didn't slack off lately. I wonder what his training level is now. Should we ask? Lu Ming replied, no need. If he wants to share, he will. If he doesn't, there's no point pushing him. Just watch his combat data from now on. We can figure it out ourselves. Jiang Yong waved his hand, dropping it. At Uncle Sam's intelligence agency director, that kid from the east is streaming again. James pushed his work aside, picked up the tablet, and asked casually the blood crystal. Did you get it? Jones scowled. It's proving difficult, much harder than he expected. Money, reputation, threats, nothing worked at all. He even got threatened right back. At a time like this, who could get their hands on a blood crystal without being completely ruthless and dangerous? Who doesn't want first place or to clear the first stage? Who would ever give that up? And the ones actually willing to cooperate were just small fry, who couldn't get a blood crystal anyway. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So keep trying. I'll handle whatever resources you need. The rest is on you. James gently tossed the burning problem right back to him. You can't get it done? That's your problem. The boss can't blame me for it. Thank you, Director. A flash of cold malice crossed Jones's eyes, then vanished in a heartbeat. Long time no see, guys. I smiled and waved at the camera. Bye. We missed you like crazy. 3 whole days. Do you have any idea what these past 3 days were like for me? One veteran fan said, his eyes practically overflowing with tears. Around 700,000 people were online at first. A far cry from my peak. The ones camping in the stream from second one were either die-hard loyal fans, or people who considered me their absolute biggest threat. Huh? Training is the foundation of everything, I said with a shrug. With the resources right in my hands, of course I went into isolation first. Once your power grows, exploring gets so much safer, right? The weak just cling to life. Only the strong actually earn the right to talk about adventures. A truth I didn't truly grasp until entering this world. So Subobai, what's your current realm and level? Come on, blow our minds. We're waiting anxiously. Me too, and I second that. I didn't reveal my level straight up. Instead, I said calmly. All I'll say is this misty island, I walk through it like I own the place. Damn. He actually walks through like he owns it. How much power does that take? The live stream exploded with comments again. Old Bai must have at least reached the start of the 5th stage of body refinement. That guardian beast of the blood spring is a max power tier 1 4-star monster. If he can just strut in there, his training level has to be definitively higher, not lower. Not necessarily. He has the Zhug repeating crossbow, a top tier 1 divine weapon. Even at the 4th stage of body refinement, he could pass through quite easily. Honestly, I could walk through the misty island too. If a monster rushes me, I'll just lie down and let it walk right over me. I looked at that sarcastic comment and my mouth twitched. Is that really what I meant? They kept arguing back and forth endlessly. I didn't even bother answering them. I just smiled. Last time I promised to take you all to explore the blood spring. Let's go. I dropped the comments and stepped into the fog with Little Long and Little Chi. The mist swallowed my vision instantly, but this time I abandoned all caution. No need to keep the battle pets spread out front and back. We pushed straight for the blood spring. Suddenly, Two Tier 1 3-star wild dogs lunged right at us. Little Chi took them out with a single peck each. Instant kill. I didn't even lift a finger. Then a furious roar echoed from the blood spring. A mid-level Tier 1 4-star wild dog charged straight out of the fog. But my eye of insight had already seen absolutely everything. The blood spring was surrounded by over 30 savage wild dogs. 9 were Tier 1 4 stars, the strongest sitting at peak. Tier 1 4 star, the new guardian beast. Kill. I passed my pets, charging straight into the pack. One spear thrust meant one kill. The spear tip tore through the air, spraying blood absolutely everywhere. Little Long unleashed his gravity control. His range had now expanded to 4 meters as his training level evolved. Every wild dog within 4 meters crashed to the dirt, their bones cracking and snapping. Little Chi jumped right in, one peck for each, making skulls explode and tear apart. The two of them fought in perfect sync. I was pretty satisfied. Left them to their work and wiped out the remaining mastiffs myself one by one. Not a single beast survived. With the live stream running this time, I didn't bother taming a single thing. No need for more combat pets. All I wanted were the blood spirit pills and regular spirit pills. 1 minute, over 30 wild mastiffs completely wiped out. Dead silence fell over the live stream chat. The comments only started trickling back after I packed up the loot and the bodies. Are my eyes broken? Did they seriously die that fast? And a peak level 1 4-star beast dropped from a single spear strike. The craziest part is Old Bai never touched the Plakar gun or the Chujibo. Pure close combat. When he said he owned this place, he wasn't bluffing. The trial just started. Not even half a cosmic day has passed. How did the power gap get so massive? Rank 2 globally is at early stage 4 body refinement, while rank 11 is still stuck at peak stage 1. Old Bai's combat power equals at least early stage 5 body refinement. His global rank has to be insane. The gap is totally insane. I glanced at the screen, smiled, and said nothing. Just walked straight to the blood spring. No wild mastiff was going to stop me now. I planned to drain every single drop of this blood spring. I pulled a massive iron pot from my spatial storage. Started scooping up the blood, bowl after bowl. 1 pot. 22 pots. And the spring ran dry. The dregs were way too shallow to scoop. I looked over at Xiaolong and Xiaoqi. The rest is yours. Drink up, thanks, master. The two little guys pounced with pure excitement, chugging it instantly. They drained the pool in seconds, still wanting more. Xiaoqi slammed his beak hard against the very bottom. Then everything changed. The pool's floor shattered like glass. A faint blood-red glow leaked up from the cracks. Something was hiding under there, huh? I leaned in for a closer look. The entire livestream chat locked onto the scene. That blood-red pattern. Doesn't that look exactly like a magic formation? Why is a magic formation sitting beneath a blood pool? Forget the formation for a second. 9 intact blood crystals surrounding it. Do you guys see this? We just struck it rich. Of course I saw them. But the second I reached out to grab them, the formation suddenly erupted with a terrifying suction force. My heart pounded. I snatched up my pets and launched myself backward. Right before my eyes, the surrounding mist began to violently swirl and collapse. The formation at the bottom of the pool swallowed it down. Oh my god, the mist is actually getting sucked away. This formation could devour the entire island's mist. I had no time to read the chat. This sudden twist put me on maximum alert. I called Xiaolong and Xiaoqi to my side, drew my refined Chuja bow, and locked my eyes on the blood spring. The fog grew thick for a second, then rapidly thinned out. My line of sight started expanding. 20 meters, 30 meters, until the mist around me vanished completely. I didn't even need my divine sense to see clearly anymore. No, not completely. Just this one area cleared up. 300 meters out, 5 or 6 wild mastiffs were pacing around in pure panic. They were visibly terrified. My 2 pets bared their fangs, waiting for my command. The wild mastiffs glared at us, then turned and bolted into the distant mist, vanishing without a trace. A solid quarter of Mist Island was now completely cleared of wild mastiffs. Instead, my line of sight landed on several treasures that looked like spirit herbs. Why did only part of the fog clear? One sharp-eyed viewer caught it. A whole quarter of it just vanished. Does that mean there are 3 more blood springs in the remaining directions? Look closely at the pool's bottom. The formation and the blood crystals completely vanished. That comment instantly caught my eye. 9 low-grade blood crystals. That was an absolute fortune. My chest tightened as I quickly stepped up to inspect the bottom of the pool. Right at that exact moment, the system spoke in my ear. A chime rang out, ding. Congratulations on activating Formation I number 3. Ultimate Wealth Quest triggered. Kill Mist Island's Ultimate Guardian Beast to unlock the Wealth Vault. Quest requirement, activate all 4 formation eyes on this island to unlock the central altar and summon the ultimate guardian beast. Kill it to obtain the wealth vault key. I froze in place. So this is where the real fortune comes from. Quests leading straight to a secret vault. That alone sounded like a massive deal. An entire vault wouldn't hold just one single treasure, right? But the system only mentioned unlocking it. It never actually explained how to take what's inside. Bai, why are you just standing there frozen? Based on my psychological research, old Bai probably just got a system notification. There's definitely a system voice in the trial space. Who else zones out right after a fight? Mist Island isn't exactly safe, you know. I snapped out of my daze, saw the barrage of comments flooding in, and chuckled. Figured I better give them the short version of what just went down. No reason to hide it. It wasn't a secret, and it definitely wasn't a trump card. As for exposing the luck quest and saving others some trouble, sure it will, but I didn't care. Phase 1 wasn't competitive. It was about survival. That won't stop me from clearing it. Damn, that guy really saw it coming. So the blood crystals were just minor luck. And this final prize is the real loot. The 9 blood crystals at the bottom of the pool were likely consumed when I activated the formation. If all 4 eyes work like this, that's 36 low-grade blood crystals. Just one crystal cured Lu Fang's critical injuries and skyrocketed his cultivation level. If the final reward doesn't top that number, it's a total loss. The Academy wouldn't be this cheap. Just wait and see what happens. Forget it. The crystals are gone. No point regretting it now. I brushed it off and completely changed the subject. Let's go explore another area. I looked to the left. The mystic thunderfruit tree was somewhere inside that fog. I just slaughtered a pack of wild mastiffs, so this side will be an easier hunt. I'll deal with the easy stuff first, and save the hard stuff for later. There were spirit herbs back there. Why didn't you pick them? I'll leave them for now. I'll definitely come back once I wipe out all the island's monsters. Right now, I really can't tell the difference between medicine and poison. Once the fog clears, the floating island radar will be extremely useful. I'll harvest using the notifications, getting double the results with half the work. That got a huge wave of approval. Little Dragon, Little Red, team up. I'll go solo. The goal: find a treasure spot like the Blood Spring. My 2 battle pets shot off in different directions. And as I walked, I asked silently, Tower Spirit, can you communicate with the wild mastiffs? The mastiffs seemed pretty cunning, but both their level and future potential were extremely low. I've always had major doubts about how smart they actually were. I can do that. I finally breathed out. Ask them for me then. Are there really 4 blood springs on this island? Master, I already asked. There is one in each of the 4 directions. They're the foundation of the wild mastiff clan's survival on this island. I was secretly thrilled. That meant I could still harvest hundreds more blood spirit pills. Do they know where the blood springs are around here? They know. A genius idea flashed through my mind. Can you drop them off a few dozen meters away? Anywhere within 2 kilometers. Perfect, good. Place the 3 Tier 1 5-star wild mastiffs in the fog zone 100 meters away, and make them guide all the nearby mastiffs toward the blood spring. Then report the spring's location to me. Yes, Master. The 3 wild mastiffs were released. Taking in their familiar surroundings, they reported back quickly. The spring was over 800 meters away. With inside information, things became a whole lot easier. I guided Little Dragon toward the blood spring while I moved through the fog, killing any wild mastiff I ran into, stopping and going for about 12 minutes or so. Tower Spirit brought good news. Master, most of the nearby wild mastiffs have been guided to the blood spring. Oh, guys, good news. Little Dragon found a blood spring. Let's go check it out. I faked my surprise even though everything was going exactly according to plan. After walking another 400 meters, I regrouped with Little Dragon and Little Red. Lowering my voice, I told the live stream the blood spring is roughly 70 meters away and tons of wild mastiffs are gathering there. Looks like another huge battle. Let's go. I hadn't had enough fighting anyway. With my 2 battle pets, I charged straight at them. Bold and completely confident. Kill. 5 minutes later, the battle was over. Ding. Congratulations on slaying the Blood Spring's guardian monster. The reward: 1 miniature spirit spring, added to your personal space. A spirit spring too. My heart leaped with joy, but I kept my face totally blank. I hit them so hard last time that even with the traders guiding them, only 52 mastiffs showed up. 2 Tier 1 5 stars, 27 Tier 1 4 stars, and the rest were Tier 1 3 stars. Absolutely zero threat to me. Once again, I didn't touch my gun or crossbow during this entire fight, but unlike the last Blood Spring, this one caused a tiny bit of trouble. Little Dragon was totally fine, but Little Red got a tiny scratch and lost some feathers. And my shirt sleeve got torn, exposing a clear bloody line on my arm. Just a scratch. Nothing worth mentioning. Awesome. I let out a loud roar, venting all the burning fighting spirit in my chest. It felt incredible. Not just because the loot was rich, but because my combat technique, the Mystic 9 Ojin Spear, was brushing the edge of a breakthrough. If I can get just one more satisfying, all-out fight like this, I might break through completely. I couldn't help but feel even more anticipation for the upcoming battles. Wasn't there a mid-stage Tier 1 5-star Wild Mastiff? Just now, one of the viewers finally figured it out. There was one, but against Old Bai, it didn't even last 3 moves. That means he's probably already reached the late stage of the 5th level of body refinement, or maybe even the peak. The exact moment that conclusion dropped, viewers all over the world fell dead silent. Ding! Star Empire's Iron Star. Just bet 5,000 black iron coins. He did not back down once in that fight. I am telling you, he already hit the peak of the 5th body refinement stage. Hitting that level so quickly is incredibly rare. Iron Star dropped another message and the livestream chat absolutely blew up. Boss Iron Star placed another bet. Cold hard cash talks. The guy is from our home planet after all. We have to back our own guy. With Iron Star leading the charge, countless Blue Star viewers and fans from other Lord nations joined the frenzy. The later you bet, the lower the payout. 1 gold coin only nets 0.95 now, since my odds of winning keep climbing. Going from a mere mortal to the 5th body refinement peak, this fast, the guy is a once-in-a-generation genius. As long as he survives the journey, his future is wildly bright. He is definitely passing the first trial. The 5-star Wind God Empire Jing Wang. Damn, another massive 5-star boss. Viewers from higher civilizations kept pouring in, dropping comments, placing bets, and tossing tips. No official rankings yet, but looking at past Academy history, he will definitely break the top 10 billion. The 6-star Lord Nation. Fang Wuya, a 6-star boss, actually showed up too. The Blue Star viewers absolutely lost their minds. I missed exactly what the 6-star boss said, but with the screen swarming with Blue Star fans hyping it up, I got the gist. Thanks for the bets, everyone. I will do everything in my power to clear these trials. Your money will not go to waste. Watching that flood of tips pour in, my confidence skyrocketed. This was startup capital for my future territory. I hesitated for a second, then decided to answer him head-on. Boss Fang Wuya, could you explain how those rankings actually work? And yes, I really am at the peak of the 5th body refinement stage. Getting here drained almost every drop of my resources and energy, and even that is barely enough to crack the top 10 billion. That was the first time I publicly admitted my level. There was just no hiding it anymore. The big bosses in this stream have razor-sharp eyes. They figured me out ages ago. Asking for advice while still hiding things that would be a total insult to their intelligence. Sure, back on Blue Star I was number 1. At least, the number 1 everyone knew. But that achievement meant absolutely nothing in the grand scope of these trial grounds. So no one was going to bother targeting me right now. At least not on day 1. You seem decent enough, so telling you is fine. Fang Wuya replied that rankings would unlock starting on the 2nd cosmic day. Then you can see your rank in real time. There is no hiding it. And you should not hide your level anyway. This is the Cosmic Lord Academy recruitment trial. The more impressive your results, the higher the Academy values you, and the better benefits you reap later. As expected of a 6-star boss, he figured me out the very second he entered.